Come on, Annie. Let's go to the movies.
This is the Cinereelists, episode 539. My name is Kyle.
My name is James.
And my name is Zach.
And we're here to talk about movies, movie lists, and movie obsession for the next hour or so. It's good to see you guys. It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah, you guys played hooky last week.
And it's been a while.
It has been a while.
I totally froze him on that one.
Thank you, Nickelback.
I can't remember anything.
Thank you, James Hetfield.
Wish I had another one.
Wait, you know all these people?
Yeah, because some of us listen to music, Zach.
Who's James Hetfield?
The lead singer to Metallica, come on.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
he?
this is very relevant to our main topic this week.
Okay, hold on. Of course I've heard of Metallica,
Yeah.
but no one talks about Jim Hetfield.
James
I've never heard.
Hetfield?
I've never heard that name before.
You've never heard of James Hetfield before?
I'm just saying, for some reason, people do not talk about that name a lot. Right? Like the head of Nirvana, everyone talks about all the time. The head of
And who is the
Nine
head of
Inch
Nirvana?
Nails.
Yeah, who's
Who
the
is
head? Who is
yeah.
the head
The
of
head
Nirvana?
of Nirvana.
Who's the head of Nirvana?
Which one
Who's
is
the
Pink
CEO
Floyd?
of Nirvana?
The head.
You know, that baby, the swimming baby.
Oh, that guy. That guy's a piece of work. Spencer something is his name.
Yeah, we even know his name.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys hate him because that lawsuit.
I don't hate him. He dropped
I
the
don't-
lawsuit, so I'm fine with
No,
it.
I don't hate him for the lawsuit. I think the lawsuit was some BS, and we can.
Okay.
That's a whole nother topic right there.
Well, I'll say this Jim Ledford guy, people talk about him a whole lot less than the head of the Foo Fighters. That
And
guy
who's the head of
is
the Foo
everywhere.
Fighters?
Yeah.
It's like Wayne Grudem or something like that.
Wayne Girdle.
No, it's not Wayne Girdle. What is it? It starts with a G, I think.
It last name starts with a G.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
Good job.
he is like everywhere. He's overexposed, I think.
Yeah.
for the-
He's so overexposed you can't even name him.
I just forgot his name. It's like Johnny Gunderson or something like that. But
Yeah, you
But yeah,
you
he's
keep
everywhere.
throwing out these names that are wrong that now I've forgotten his name.
you forgot the name of the head of the Foo Fighters guy.
No,
so-
not the head of Foo Fighters. It's not,
Maybe the CEO of Foo Fighters is in the news a lot
He
right
was
now
in
because
something else, too.
their
Was he in
drummer
Nirvana
died.
as well?
Can you be more sensitive to the situation, please?
To what situation?
That the Foo Fighters drummer passed away in the last month, so maybe that's
Yeah.
why you have Foo Fighters overexposure right now.
No,
Don't make it
he's-
about yourself here,
He's
Zach.
always been around. And also, was he a part of Nirvana as well?
I don't know. Was he?
I'm. I think you should know.
I think
Oh,
he
I
was.
do
the-
know. I want to know if you know.
Well, I asked the question, so obviously I know something.
I think he was the CIO of Nirvana.
Yeah, Chris Novoselic was a CFO. Mr. G was the CIO, and the head was the CEO.
Zach.
Yeah.
Maybe people don't use the name James Hetfield often, but there is a Metallica band member who was in the news a lot in like the early 2000s. And I would say that person is actually like maybe more the face of Metallica.
I totally agree. That's why I was surprised when you said Jim Leatherford, because I
You
just
do-
never heard of this guy.
Right, but
Zach,
what's
you
the
do
guy
not
I'm
agree
talking about?
whatsoever. You're just running with what James has given you.
No, what I'm saying is that I've never heard that name before. And
What's the name of the guy who you might know from Metallica?
sure, this is the
What-
guy. He either hated Napster or loved Napster. I'm trying
It's
to remember
definitely
which it was.
one of those two.
Yeah,
What instrument does he play in Metallica? Can you give us that? Like,
If he's not the head, what is he?
the tail. He
No.
play-
which if a band was formed on a stage, if one person was the,
the
head,
drummer.
the drummer.
ah,
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Leading a horse to water.
Metallica.
What's the name of
Drummer.
Metallica's drummer?
See, no, that is absolutely a name. That's a guy. for
Also been
sure.
in a couple movies, including a
Trent
Judd
Reznor.
Apatow movie.
Trent
right?
Reznor.
Nope. Trent Reznor is in another band. You
He's the head of
mentioned
another
earlier.
band.
9 Inch Nails.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. The bullet that screams through the universe.
What?
What?
He has a music video with a bullet.
That is
No,
corn.
that's corn.
That's corn with a K.
What are you talking about? No, the bullet that goes all the way through, and then they sing Johnny Cash's song.
Oh my gosh, there is so much getting mixed up here. So
Hurt.
the tail of Metallica is Lars Ulrich.
The tail.
Lars Van Trier.
Lars Ulrich.
Lars Ulrich.
Yeah, Lars Ulrich. Absolutely. Yes. But I'm just saying this Jimmy Lunderfield is not a
James
household name.
James Hetfield is. I don't even know if Lars Ulrich is a household name, but
Zach,
More
you
than-
like documentaries, right?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
sometimes like maybe a documentary would introduce you to music that you might enjoy down the line, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For instance, I'm now a Rush fan.
Absolutely. You should see Some Kind
This
of
is
Monster.
Guar.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Some Kind of Monster. I mean, This Is Guar might be good too. I haven't seen it yet, but
I haven't seen it either.
once
but
I see it, I'll let you know whether you should see that. But Some Kind of Monster is really good. And it's a Metallica documentary. And it's really good because it's not a puff piece, I would say.
Ooh.
In fact, like they didn't try to block the release, but until people had actually seen it and told them it was good, they had serious reservations about releasing it because it did not paint them in a positive picture, even though they agreed and produced it, I believe. I don't remember if they produced it, but
I'm totally open to watching this.
yeah,
Although I will say the cover does not appeal to me.
I don't.
It's
know
like
what
based
they
on the
did.
Metallica album, but like Jimmy Ledbetter's all over it. Lars Van Trier's in it a lot. Jason Alexander gets kicked out of the band.
Jason
then-
Alexander is in this.
And
That's
then
amazing.
I can't remember the guitars now. The stupid joke. I'm in James territory now.
So we've all at one point forgotten a member of Metallica.
Only because Zach can't remember a name, so it's ruining it for the rest of us.
Sorry, guys.
It's directed
Oh, yeah,
by
the-
Joe Berlinger, who directed the Paradise Lost movies, as well
Okay.
as the
Yeah.
other things. The Tony Robbins documentary. Remember you saw
Oh, that
that
was
and liked
good.
it? Yeah.
That was a really good one.
Same director.
Cool. I'm in. I like docs.
And you might walk out appreciating Metallica a little more.
I appreciate Metallica.
Especially the CEO.
Name one song.
One Metallica song.
Yes, one
Just
Metallica
one.
song.
Don't
Just
look it
one.
up. No typing.
Maybe you've been to a sporting event in your lifetime.
They
Let's see,
probably have 10 like double digit hits, Kyle, would you say?
Yeah, I would say you could. There's you have heard. Obviously, you were friends with me. You still are friends with me. Back in high school, you've heard Metallica, but outside of our friendship, you've also heard Metallica.
Mm-hmm.
the
It's okay. You can just give up. It's fine.
Oh no. There's one on the tip of my tongue. However, it's being confused with
I
an
sent-
Alanis Morissette song.
Like 6
so I'm
months ago, I sent Zach a playlist of my favorite Metallica song from each
Oh, yeah.
album.
I
So
listened to them all.
you didn't listen to them all,
I did. I listened to
Oh,
them
yeah.
all.
and you don't
Yeah.
remember any of them.
Sorry.
Ugh.
What's their most famous song
You want us to tell you?
that like grandmas would know?
Enter Sandman.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Based on the comic book Sandman or based on the mythical creature that puts you to sleep?
The mythical creature.
Yes, but the
It's
mystical
not really
creature that
based on-
takes you from sleep.
Right.
Oh, the Sandman takes you from sleep?
Well, yeah, because it's metal. They're not going to be write a song about going to sleep. They're going to write a song about not waking up from sleeping.
Well, I know, but it's based on the creature that puts you to sleep.
Yes.
Yes,
The
influenced
root
by.
is that. Yes.
Yes.
For sure.
All right.
So Kyle, how was wherever the heck you went? I forget where you went.
Well, Zach wouldn't let me reveal it to the listeners before I left. It was supposed to be a big mystery.
Right.
So
How
That was
dare you,
me? I
Zach.
thought that was James.
That was you. It was all
That-
you.
it was all Zach.
Yep, it was all you.
Oh, please.
100% Zach.
Oh, please. I got it.
For the grand reveal,
Mm-hmm.
you've all been waiting. Zach wouldn't let you hear it. Zach, can I share with everyone where I was for the last couple weeks?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I had a great time. No, I was
Georgia.
I was in Iceland for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was Iceland? What did you do? What was the? Give us the highlight and the low light. We want to hear. It all.
Ooh, I mean, the highlight was probably a hike along the Snefelins Peninsula. It was beautiful.
Excuse me?
The Snefelins Peninsula or Snifelins. I can't pronounce any word out there whatsoever.
Chortle Elijah 4.
Yeah, I could be right. You pronounce it. I'll send it to you and you tell me how it's pronounced. Anyway, that hike was beautiful. And the low was probably seeing Geyser, which is a geyser where the word geyser comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of a tourist trap. I was unimpressed by the whole geyser experience.
Right, but the geyser was like you were disappointed by the experience, but the geyser was good,
I
or
mean,
the
like,
geyser itself was also underwhelming.
the geyser itself kind of underwhelming. It's sort of like just in this field. There's like not chain link fence. There's like just chains up of like where you can and can't go. There's
Mhm.
not a lot of like developments to it. And then, there's these holes and they bubble and like the geyser went off and that was really cool to see. But just like we were there for, I don't know, half an hour and for like a cool 5-second geyser going off. And the rest of the time there's just a ton of tourists milling around. There's a big tourist gift shop, restaurant, bus station there. It was just from being in rather more remote areas and then going to a very touristy area. It was a bit of a letdown.
Hmm.
Zach, you've been to Iceland.
Yeah.
Did you go to Geyser?
Yeah, we went to Geyser.
What do you remember from Geyser?
We went off hours, so I don't remember
Oh.
anyone being there.
Okay.
So I don't remember it as being touristy. I do remember waiting for the geyser, and then I think I remember it being an impressively large geyser.
It was, so we saw like 3. Like the first 2 went off, it was kind of like fine, and then we were kind of ready to go, but Galen's like, let's watch one more. So we stuck around for one more. And the third one was a nice big plume of steam and water.
Yeah. But I'm sorry it was chained off, so you couldn't go stand right in the middle and get geysered.
Yeah, no, the chain wasn't the issue. The barriers wasn't the issue. It was the kind of barrier. Like a lot of Iceland is really, they've done a good job of catering to tourists in the sense of being like, here's some nice walking areas, here's some nice fencing, here's some nice like signs about what's going on. And Geyser just kind of felt thrown together. The whole grounds
Gotcha.
compared to other things we saw.
Have you ever seen
Yeah.
Old Faithful?
I've never been to, is that Yosemite or Yellowstone?
Yellowstone.
I've never read either of those, so it doesn't matter.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Would you say Geyser shoots as high as Old Faithful?
No.
No, not
No.
even close?
No.
Old Faithful takes it?
Yeah.
America.
America. Yeah. Good job, us. There is anyway, but it was an awesome time. Went with my wife and my son, and he had a great time. She had a great time. So I would highly recommend if anyone's looking for somewhere cool to go. If you like waterfalls, Iceland's the place to be.
All right. But you can't get in the water, right? It's too cold.
You can go in the water.
You can?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Did you?
We did not go in the ocean because that was cold, and the beaches we were on were kind of dangerous with surf. And
There's
then,
hot springs a lot of places, so you could definitely go in the water.
yeah, you can go to those. Yeah, we found on the road a rather small waterfall that no one was around, and we waded in that, like rolled our pants up, and that was really fun. Like the water was super cool and refreshing.
Nice.
Kyle, either you or I will post the picture of the geyser on Instagram, okay?
You should post a picture of Geyser because I don't even know if I took one. It was that underwhelmed.
Wow. Just imagining
Okay.
Kyle hate watching the geyser in Iceland.
I think part of it was there was I was like, could we get this damn thing over with? I think there was so many just like tourist buses, and we were on this peninsula beforehand, which was not on the ring roads, the big road that goes around the islands, and
Mhm.
this is off the ring road, so there's a lot less people there. So where we were was kind of a little bit more remote, not a lot of people, and then we went from that to like the Golden Circle, which is the most popular part of the country for tourists. So I think for us it was a bit of a shock of like, oh, there's a lot of people here right now.
Sure. Did
And we were-
anybody bring a blanket to the geyser viewing?
Maybe if they had put benches out, but they even bother with like trying to get nice seating for people. So no, there's even if you wanted a blanket, there's nowhere to go.
By the way, I didn't get to chime in when you guys were talking about if blanket people are more likely or not to be interrupters in movie theaters.
I just want to say I'm so glad that blanket people has become a thing now.
And I am 100% Team James on this one. I guarantee
They're
Kyle
quieter.
has not seen enough blanket people to make such a bold assertion.
I have
And
seen
second,
enough blanket people.
and second, the demographics of blanket people are an entirely different demographic than the type of people that interrupt my movie viewing experience.
I'm just saying there is a Venn diagram, and blanket people and interrupters, those circles are almost on top of each other.
No,
Not
those
quite.
circles are very very different than each other, and if they intersect, it's at a very small place because the type of people that interrupt you are 18-year-old boys, right?
And they don't
That
bring
is
blankets to theaters.
Yeah, that's the epicenter of interrupters, and I don't think an 18-year-old boy has ever brought a blanket to a theater.
If they brought their girlfriend, they did.
No, absolutely not. So I don't know what Kyle thinks happens at movie theaters, but there's not a bunch of like rowdy teenagers with their blankets.
Well, I mean, maybe it's different up there, Zach. That's possible.
I'm from up there, and it's not.
Yeah,
right, but you haven't lived up there in 20 years or something like that.
You
A
were
blanket-
up here when they had the big, like we got the big reclining, seats now. When you were up here, none of the theaters had the big recliners. It's changed a lot.
All right. Well, I would be shocked if these blanketers are pulling out their cell phones and chatting it up. They're probably just falling asleep.
I never said that they're pulling out their cell phones. That they are talking to each other because they feel like they're in their living room because they got their blanket, they got their big cozy recliner, and it's their. They don't no awareness that they're in a public space. They're just like being in their house.
My theory is that
Negative.
maybe at one point somebody who brought a blanket talked, right? And then Kyle's thought process was, I bet they're doing that because they feel like they're in their living room.
Yep.
And then from now on, everybody with a blanket feels like they're in their living room and is going to talk.
And his ears perk up every time he sees a blanket, and he's watching them specifically and singling them out.
Right.
And he's not drawing categories
I love the
for all the
idea
other people.
of Kyle death staring people in blanket with under the blankets in movie
Oh, you know what's
theaters.
happening.
I
Don't you
even watch
dare
the
talk.
I don't even watch the movie anymore. If there's someone behind me, I'm not even watching. I'm just watching them, making sure they're not talking.
James, do you want to know the plot twist in all this?
What?
Kyle's a blanket person.
What? You take
What?
blankets to movie theaters?
He's a
No,
blanket
I would
person.
never bring a blanket to a movie theater.
Why not? Let's explore that. Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Movie theaters are incredibly dirty. Like they don't clean those.
Yeah. that's why you
So
sit on
You're
a
already
blanket.
sitting in a chair that's like borderline cesspool. So what's a blanket?
because if I bring a blanket, I'm not gonna bring a blanket because I'm not a blanket person. B, I'm gonna have to wash that blanket immediately after I leave that theater.
Okay.
What's the problem here?
So why aren't you bringing a blanket?
I don't want to do
You
laundry.
don't
that
wash your
much.
blankets?
I don't think. I don't know. I don't know how. Megan does laundry. I believe she washes. Yes, not believe.
Megan
She
does
washes the
laundry.
blankets.
You're not even sure.
I fold the laundry. We got a system down.
You got a system where you just don't even know if your blankets are being washed. Or
You know what
not.
I read the other day?
I just expect clean blankets. Okay, Zach.
You know what I read the other day?
What?
You're supposed to clean your bed sheets once every 2 to 3 days.
Oh,
Now,
no,
I'm
it's
not-
not that often.
Me, it's like once a week. Who cleans their bed sheets once every 2 to 3 days?
James, where did you read this?
Online?
Right.
Or
but,
maybe
like,
it was in a
where
YouTube
online?
video. It might have been in a YouTube video. I don't remember. But I saw it online. And I was like, what? That's crazy. And they're like, well, you wouldn't wear your underwear more than 2 to 3 days in a row. I was like, I change my underwear every day. I don't know what this person's talking about, but
Well,
I don't know.
Wait,
Blew my mind.
I also wear pajamas to bed. Like
Do you clean them every time?
the pajamas?
Yeah.
No, every couple of days.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think you could stretch
Yeah.
pajamas to like a week, like you do your bed sheets.
I don't. No, I'm. I'm disagreeing with whatever this source is. I don't think that there's a direct correlation between changing your underwear daily and having to change your bed sheets, just because unless you're like naked rolling around that bed every night.
Right. But this video's point was you wouldn't wear the same underwear for like a week. So why would you clean your bed sheets once a week?
Yeah, and what I'm saying is that that's a false point because you can't compare the use the bed sheet gets to the use your underwear gets.
You can't? I mean, you kind of can.
I would say underwear.
What are we doing here, guys? What's going on?
I don't know.
What is happening?
You can tell all three of us have not been here in a while.
It's been a while since we've.
I mean,
like every tangent possible.
What are we doing here?
I believe we're here to talk movies today. Is that correct?
Yeah, or movie
Okay.
lists.
Or movie lists, or movie obsession,
Yeah.
or just general things on our mind because it's been 3 weeks since we had a chance to do one of
Right.
these.
Right. I guess
Should-
we'll save
should
it
we
for
just-
the Patreon episode.
Yeah. Should we just
evidently.
cut this whole intro, make that the Patreon, and start all over again?
No.
Okay.
We'll just continue from where we left off for the Patreon.
All right.
If you want more of that, check out the Patreon. Yeah, we're gonna talk Thor: Love and Thunder. And we're also going to read some listener email. And Kyle brought a game back from all the way across the pond from Iceland that we're going to play as well. So before we do all that, I need to remind you that there's a video version of this podcast on YouTube. Go to YouTube, search Cinereelists, subscribe to us there, and you can watch while you listen. You could also find us on Patreon, get that extra after show goodness. Also, leave us an Apple Podcast review, 5 stars only. We'd appreciate that. Or send us a listener email to heyguys@cinereelists.com, REEL with an S on the end. Send a comment, a question, a list suggestion, a movie suggestion, or just general input, which is what people tend to send us, I think. We got a couple emails in the last few weeks that we're going to go over right now, starting with one that Zach's going to read to us.
Yep. All right. This is from Andy Furman. And he said, "Hey guys, game last week." So this is a couple weeks ago now.
Mhm.
James and I played a game where we give a series of clues. I'm breaking into the email to give context. We give each other a series of clues. The other person guesses what the movie was. Okay. The clue was I show Cuba Gooding Jr. and Noah Wyle early in their careers. After some him-hawing, the answer was Jerry Maguire. Said oddly twice by Zach, repeated by James, and then the "that's correct" sound. which it isn't. Noah Wyle and Jerry Maguire. The answer is A Few Good Men. So I have questions. Was there some editing and ADR added to that recording before posting? Because there's an extra added Jerry Maguire utterance that seems off. James,
Guys,
Yeah.
Andy, he's on to us. He figured out that we this whole thing is
edit.
fake. Trivia is fake. It's I think we have to stop. Guys, we can't do this anymore. And on good conscience.
he wonders, did James not look at the actual answer and use the "that's correct" because Zach finally came up with the title of the movie he was thinking of, which
That's
was in
correct.
fact the wrong answer? Was the game wrong? Did it actually have Jerry Maguire as the answer? Are you two just messing with people and did this knowingly to see if anyone would say anything? Seriously, I live in a legalized state. Was Noah Wyle and Jerry Maguire? Wasn't that Jay Moore? Was he an intern of a sports agency and I have no recollection of it? No, really. You're just messing with us and you did that on purpose, right? Thanks, fellas.
Okay, so I think we should answer some of these questions and then answer like the big question, right?
Yeah.
First of all, every mistake we make on this podcast is on purpose, just to see if people are listening, right? That's why there's any mistakes. Normally
Absolutely.
we're flawless. We
A
throw
lot of
in a
times
couple.
we have to go back in the edit and replace some actual information.
Right.
I went to college. I got my degree in contemporary rock and roll.
Yeah.
So it takes a long time to fix some of these errors.
And his undergraduate was metal music. So
Yeah.
I've known of Twiddle Ejiofor since I was like 10. He and I, we go way back.
Yeah.
I call him Chai Chai.
And
yeah,
I
so
have a
that-
photographic memory.
Absolutely. Okay, so no, there was no ADR or editing. Any
No.
odd extra Jerry Maguires was just how I talk about the movie Jerry Maguire.
Mhm.
James does not have time for additional editing.
No.
The was now so the two big options are James just was excited that I got Jerry Maguire, that he said that's correct, even though the answer is A Few Good Men, or the card is wrong and it said Jerry Maguire, even though the answer is A Few Good Men.
Zach,
Because you're right.
but wait, before you reveal,
Yeah.
can I guess?
You can guess, but
Because I
let
have
me just
no
say,
clue whether I just got excited or whether the card was wrong.
agree. But before you guess, let me just say that Noah Wiley is not in Jerry Maguire. It is Jay Moore.
Okay, so the fact was wrong. The question is, did I pull the trigger on the wrong movie and the card was right, or the card was wrong and I just
Yeah.
went with the card?
Was the card wrong and he just went with it? Or did he just neglect to even look at the answer in the card? And because I was trying so hard to think of Jerry Maguire and finally did, he assumed that I was right and said that's correct.
I'm going to guess that the card is wrong.
You think the card is wrong. You are a stickler for the card.
And I
Yeah,
thought
you
Noah
weren't-
Wiley was in Jerry
Yeah.
Maguire.
You weren't swept away by the the tension of the moment, the excitement of me coming up with Jerry Maguire at the last second.
I think that's possible, but I think the card was wrong.
Okay, Kyle, what's your thought?
Oh, I'm gonna assume that James got swept up in the moment. That the card is correct, and James just was so excited.
All right. Here are the clues on the card,
Okay.
and then I will tell you the answer on the card. I show Cuba Gooding Jr. and Noah Wiley early in their careers. I was best movie at the 1993 MTV Movie Awards.
1993.
My military lawyer is defending two Marines accused of murdering a fellow serviceman.
Mhm. Show me the
I-
money. Got it.
In an
Yep.
Oscar-winning performance, I had Jack Nicholson declaring, "You can't handle the truth."
Yep.
Now, I
Jack
do want to
Nicholson shouting,
apologize.
Show
at
me
this
the money
point.
again. I remember that very clearly.
I want to apologize for all of these spoilers for Kyle, who has never seen A Few Good Men.
Oh wait, You Can't Handle the Truth is A Few Good Men.
And Demi Moore, Tom Cruise, and some other good men make up my cast. And the answer, according to the card, A Few Good Men.
Okay. So I did just get too excited and say
Yeah.
Jerry Maguire was the correct answer.
Now, for my context, because I was not there and have not listened to the episode yet, because I have not seen Elvis yet.
Mm-hmm.
Did you only read the first clue and then Zach answered, and then
Yes,
okay, so you guys never got farther down into the
exactly. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Well-
thank you, Andy, for that email. I
Mystery
laughed a
solved.
lot when I heard that email. I thought that was fantastic. I got another email from Andy that I want to read as well.
Okay.
The subject is All Hail Kyle. Hey guys. Yeah, it's a laughable subject line. Hey guys, kudos to Kyle. At 47 years old, I no longer suffer fools in movie theaters. I go almost exclusively to matinees that have been out for at least 2 weeks in hopes of smaller crowds. But without fail, someone still acts like I'm in their living room and not a public theater. I want to say, if people are still doing that, even though you wait 2 weeks to see a movie, then just don't wait. Just go opening night. Like, why wait if it's still happening?
Well, I think the idea is you are avoiding the crowd, so you have a less chance that a blanket person could be there. Because blanket people really like opening weekend.
Is that true? I've been to a lot of opening weekends, and I feel like most of the crowd is younger without blankets. If
Although
you go
for sure.
blanket
opening
people can
weekend.
be any age.
And just to be fair, Andy is not concerned about blanket people. That is Kyle's personal pet problem. Andy's concerned about people that interrupt the theater going experience, which again is not blanket people. He goes on.
Okay.
I do exactly what Kyle did. I'll let things go through the commercials, but as soon as the previews start, I will speak my mind to anyone who is still talking, playing on their phones, or not having blankets. Or no, he doesn't say that. Or just lessening the experience for everyone else in the theater.
Now,
Mo-
I'll say, if people are talking during the previews, that's fine. Like, I'm talking once the feature starts, then we got a problem. Previews, it's previews. It's okay.
Yeah, Andy would
I-
not want to sit next to me in a movie theater because my pattern, if I'm at a movie theater alone, is to pull out my phone and play games on my phone up until the theater darkens for the feature film. I mean, I will play till the very last second. But the moment frame 1 happens on the actual movie, phone goes off in my pocket.
In Andy's defense, I would be very nervous if I was sitting right behind you and saw you had your phone out the entire way through previews. I'm like, oh
Right.
crap.
That's why I do
I'm
it.
not
I
gonna
like
say
to keep the
anything,
tension
but
high
yeah.
in the theater.
You really want to ruin it for everyone around you.
No, part of the movie experience is the tension buzz leading up to the theater, right?
For sure.
So be a little on edge, off kilter. My personal rule, and I'm fine if other people have a different one, is it's all fair game until the lights get dimmed.
Yeah. Yep.
That's how I think of it.
I also like to exceed expectations. So that way I keep the expectation low. Like, who's this jerk with his phone on? He better not do that during the movie. And like clockwork, movie starts, phone goes off. You don't see a light for me the entire film.
Yes. So
Exceed
under promise and
expectations.
over deliver.
Yep.
Yeah.
What a gentleman.
He continues, movies in theaters are not for you and your friend or significant other to watch like you would in your home. Sit down, shut up, and respect everyone else in the theater.
So far, I like it.
And I too have wondered if I've ruined people's day at the movies before, but ultimately, why should I let them ruin mine because they are self-absorbed?
Now, this last sentence, I don't know Andy personally, but it seems like a little bit of a self-absorbed sentence.
What do you mean?
I mean, ultimately, why should I let them ruin mine because they are self-absorbed? Maybe they're having fun in the theater and enjoying themselves, and you interrupting them is ruining their experience.
That's interesting.
Yes, but as Andy pointed out, this is a public theater for everyone to enjoy.
Right.
And if your personal way of enjoying that movie is affecting everyone else in the theater, then you're enjoying the movie incorrectly.
So you don't believe in freedom of speech?
Oh, of course not. No. Let's get, you know what? Let's get going on that Bill of Rights.
No. So this brings up an interesting philosophical question here, right?
Yes.
Is let's say people are chatting and you get annoyed that they're chatting during the movie, and so you like shut them down, basically, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, for the next like 20 minutes, they're, depending on the person,
That's all they're thinking
super embarrassed, and that's all they're thinking about.
Yeah.
So now you have traded them spoiling your experience for you spoiling their experience, and one was an unintentional spoiling, but yours was an intentional spoiling.
Yeah. I don't want to say it's unintentional because, again, you're in a public theater. The overall decorum in our society in a theater is you are quiet, right? I know other societies, other cultures, it's a much different theater experience. So if I was to go there and be like, hey, everyone shut up, they'd be like, dude, this is how we do it here. But I would say in the normal, average American theater, movie theater, the experience is you're quiet and you enjoy the movie. Obviously, you can laugh and react to the movie, but you're not adding your own commentary or your own little whispering or having your own little slumber party in that theater because that affects everyone else's experience.
I see a blanket 1 in 15 movie going experiences. James, how often do you see a blanket?
I mean, I couldn't put a number to it, but I wouldn't say it's every
It's
time
rare.
I go for
Oh,
sure.
It's rare.
I would say nearly every time I go, I see a blanket.
It's
No,
rare.
that's absolutely not true.
It's
That's
rare,
absolutely not true.
And it's almost never on an opening weekend. It's like
Yeah.
the movie's been out for a full week, and now it's like a weekday on a Thursday afternoon, and there's like 10 people in the theater, and one of
Yes.
them happens to have a blanket.
I saw The Black Phone. So this is a couple weeks after it came out. On a Monday at
Mhm.
like noon, there was 3 parties in the theater. There was myself, a couple in front of me, a couple behind me. A couple behind me had a blanket, and the dude multiple times during the movie turned his cell phone flashlight on. Like while the movie's playing, all of a sudden the cell phone flashlight turns on. I did not say words, but I gave the stare probably on the 3rd time, and then he kind of looked back at me like did like one of these. But then after that, the flash never came on again. So mission accomplished.
I'm not saying you shouldn't say things to people if they're like being disruptive. I'm just saying it doesn't necessarily mean they're self-absorbed. Misdirected, uneducated, Irresponsible, sure. Self-absorbed is a very specific thing.
Well, yeah. So, but I think all three of us enjoy the non-disruptive experience, right?
Here's a
Yeah,
question.
correct.
This is not a hypothetical. This actually happened. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King comes out in movie theaters, came out around Christmas. My grandmother, who had passed, I don't know, 8 years ago, she was in her mid 80s, took her to Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, had not seen the first two movies, but wanted to go to the movies with us, and that's what we were seeing. And she fell asleep during the movie and snored loudly. Were we being self-absorbed by not waking her up?
I do kind of think it's your responsibility to police your party.
But were we being self-absorbed?
I don't. I mean, did you not wake her up? You were aware that
She's
her
an old
snoring-
lady snoring
but,
in a
wait,
movie theater for a movie that's like 4 hours long.
So you were obviously aware that her snoring was probably being noticed by other people in the theater, correct?
I mean, I could hear it, and it was
Yes,
like
okay,
she was a
so-
couple seats down. So
And was it the decision not to wake her up because we don't want to make Grandma mad by waking her up?
no,
Like,
she
was
wouldn't
that-
have been mad. She would have been
Okay.
embarrassed.
Okay. I guess why wasn't she woken up?
Because
What was
she's
the
an
thought
old
process?
lady in a movie theater who's snoring. I mean, who's going to wake her up?
Me?
Well, I'm glad you weren't there.
No, I'm not going to wake up an old lady during the movie, but
Zach,
With-
were we being self-absorbed?
Self-absorbed, absolutely not.
Right.
Although I would have advised you to wake her up. If you had
Yeah.
like left the theater and said like, Zach, I need some quick advice. I'm gonna go
Sure.
back in there. Do I wake her up? I would say yes.
Okay.
I would
Um,
startle her awake. So make it a really big scene.
All right.
Well, thank you, Andy.
Yes,
I really think we've driven the blanket people conversation to the ground this episode.
for sure.
We should table that for a couple.
Have we talked about ridiculous things that I brought to movie theaters before?
Yes, you
Yes,
brought
you
food.
have.
You cooked food in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying we couldn't
Full
talk
large-
about it again some other
Yeah.
day.
Some other time.
Kyle, you got an email, right?
I do have an email. By the way, I just want to thank Andy for being Team Kyle on all this. So I appreciate that.
Well, that
this
was
is-
before Zach and I chimed in, so we'll see if it maintains.
Andy, please follow up. Are you still Team Kyle, or did Zach and James sway you?
There's if I were to guess, Andy has no problems with blank people. I think he doesn't see them as the bad guys. He sees them as one of him.
Mm.
One of them.
I
One of
would say
us.
blanket people are a subsect of the bad guys.
Oh, okay.
They're not the only
All
bad
right,
guys.
let's not go backwards here.
They're just being
All
comfortable.
Kyle.
No, this is from Josh. He says, "Hey, James, Zach, and Kyle. Hope you are well. Wanted to keep this one simple. So here's his latest top 10, last 10. So here we go. Let's breeze through this. Number 10, Spiderhead. Great sci-fi. Fell apart in the last 30 minutes. Number 9.
I've seen number 10, Spiderhead.
Oh,
Great
okay.
sci-fi. I don't know.
Well, he says great sci-fi concept. So,
The concept wasn't bad, but all the execution was not good, in my opinion.
well, it is his number 10. So
Yeah, okay.
there. Number 9, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Number 8, Emergency. Number 7, The Many Saints of New York. Number
Newark.
6, oh, sorry, The Many Saints of Newark. My apologies. Number 6, The Black Phone, which I also saw recently. 4 stars. Wasn't sure how I felt about this at first, but it really stuck. I agree. Number 5, Double Indemnity, another favorite of mine. His next Wilder is Sunset Boulevard. I would love to hear what you think about Double Indemnity versus Sunset Boulevard. Number 4, A Streetcar Named Desire. Guessing this is the Marlon Brando classic. Number 3, May. He says, James, you've mentioned this a lot. What is this
Andy,
movie?
he had me
May.
watch it as losing a bet.
May is a Lucky McKee movie.
Okay.
About it's basically a Frankenstein story, but really twisted. I would say. Zach, is that
Yeah,
an apt description? It's good.
I think so.
It's good. If you like, if you wanted to see a rated R Tim Burton movie, I think May kind of fits that need nicely.
Okay. Well, he gave it 4 stars.
It's good.
Number 2, Blind Spotting, and then his number 1 movie of his top 10 last 10, The Card Counter, which James, I think you've seen also.
Yeah. I've seen Blind Spotting and The Card Count. They're both all good. The one that even though we gave it the same amount of stars, I've seen Emergency, and Emergency was good. I liked Emergency.
Emergency he gave 3.5. That was his number 8.
Which is what I gave it to, but
Oh,
it seems number 8 seems really low. But we gave it the same amount of stars. So
Well, and his list seems pretty stacked. His number 7 on up are all 4-star movies. So sometimes you just have a really good run.
that's true.
Cool.
Yeah. The Card Counter is great, especially if you like Paul Schrader, but there are like lots of scenes of torture from war scenarios that are like pretty brutal, I would say. So I guess normal Paul Schrader warning for like any Paul Schrader movie.
So just
like
Paul Schrader warning in general.
Yeah, just know that you're about to watch a Paul Schrader movie and there might be some stuff in there that you might not be able to unsee.
Mm-hmm. Well, Josh, thank you for sending in your top 10 last 10. If anyone else wants to send in the top 10 movies they've watched, rank them, send them in. We'll read them off. We'll talk about them. We love hearing from them.
Yeah. Someone else that sent us their top 10 last 10 is good old Troy Carruthers from Canada. He wrote in, sent his most recent top 10 last 10. Troy writes, "Hey guys, my son just graduated, which is the third and final child of the house to do so. His name is Luke, and he's planning a quote gap year working for a behavioral science services center." Don't know what that is. What is that? A behavioral service center?
I wonder if it helps out people with mental health needs.
Okay. I have no clue what that means, so
I would have guessed someone that helps you like figure out how to live life with like a physical disability.
Like OTPT.
Yeah.
Okay, could be that too. Yeah.
Troy continues, "I wouldn't say he's making a Batman of money there," which is a unit of measurement we learned a couple episodes ago. "But he sure loves it. But that's not what you want to know. This is his favorite movies are School of Rock, Yesterday, and Nacho Libre. Those are all
I wonder if
movies
he's a Beatles fan.
Is there a Beatles song in Nacho Libre? There's definitely one in School of Rock and Yesterday.
No,
but
Yesterday is a... Well, okay. I say Beatles fan because School of Rock and Nacho Libre makes sense given this kid's age that he would like those movies. But
Jack
Yesterday
Black and
seems
stuff.
like the outlier of the group. So that's why I wonder if he's a Beatles fan.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe he just likes music.
maybe. They're all... Well, Nacho Libre is not really music related, but
But it's Jack Black.
and it has music in it. So
Yeah.
And now to Troy's latest top 10, last 10, his number 10, The Lost City, which we talked about on this podcast. And in his number 9, The Hand of God from 2021. Never heard of this. He likens it to Roma. His number 8, Turning Red, the Pixar animated movie. His number 7, The Adam Project, which is a Netflix movie that I saw and was unimpressed with. Number 6, Dark Waters, the Mark Ruffalo biopic. Somebody made a biopic about Mark Ruffalo?
No, it's... No. He stars in a biopic.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know that's a biopic. I thought it was about, like, not Flint Water, but something along those lines.
Oh, I've seen this movie. It's good. He fights a legal battle. He's a lawyer.
Yeah.
He fights a legal
Took you
battle about...
That long to realize you've seen this movie.
I have seen it, and it's good. He's good in it.
Zach, do you know how long 2019 feels ago?
I know. Might as well have been 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Number 5, Truth from 2015. A Kate Blanchett and Robert Redford biopic.
Someone made a biopic about Kate Blanchett and Robert Redford.
Nope.
No,
this
about
one's
Dan
about
Rather.
Dan Rather. I want to see this. It's about when Dan Rather, isn't it when Dan Rather got duped by like a fake letter, and he ended up having to quit his news broadcasting career or something?
Do
you remember that?
Maybe. What was it? Peter Jennings, the one who said like he was
Yeah.
in Iraq, or he was reporting from a war zone, but actually wasn't there. Or
He was in a
something?
helicopter that was being shot at. Or
That's
something
what.
like
Okay,
that.
so that was
Yeah.
Peter Jennings. Yeah, yeah. Dan Rather did get duped by something and then had to leave his job.
Dan Rather, it was like a document related to like the Bush administration.
Yep.
And he broadcasted it. And then when they challenged it, he leaned in hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then they proved that it was fake. And it was a big enough scandal that he was like, okay, I'm out. His number 4, Downton Abbey: A New Era, which is the latest Downton Abbey movie. This is the first in his top 10 last 10 that he gave 4 stars to. And also happens to be the only piece of Downtown Abbey : media I have not seen.
Why not?
I just didn't make it to the theater. I probably could watch it at home at this point. I just haven't yet. I don't know.
Okay.
You know who's a big Downton Abbey fan?
Mo.
Why?
Really?
Why is Mo a fan of Downton Abbey? I mean, I'm not saying he can't like it. It's good storytelling. I think anybody could like it. I just,
It's that upstairs downstairs intrigue.
yeah. I mean, it was well done in the beginning. I think it lost a little over time, but I don't know. When I learned that, I was like, huh, all right.
Downton Abbey, anyone can be a fan of. It's
Sure.
open to all.
Another number 4 from Troy. His number 3, The Batman, which we enjoyed generally.
Mhm.
His number 2, Top Gun: Maverick, another 4-star movie for him. Also a
He
movie.
went with his daughter's boyfriend.
Interesting.
Just the 2 of them?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Top Gun Maverick rather, just made the news because it eclipsed Titanic in some record. I forget which one.
Could have been an overall.
It's not overall because it's not in the top 10
Maybe it was like
overall.
a drop or something like that.
No, I think it was like domestic take or something.
Oh, okay.
I forget. And his number 1 5-star movie for Troy, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a good number 1 for a top 10 list for sure.
Top Gun Maverick passed Titanic as Paramount's
Yeah.
highest grossing domestic film ever.
Yep.
And Titanic was solely a Paramount film, or it's just like, what does that mean in general?
So that doesn't limit it. It's still beat Titanic, right? It's just saying that both are owned by Paramount. So Titanic was Paramount's highest, and now it's Top Gun Maverick.
Right. And but isn't Titanic like still like 7th or 8th on the all-time box office, or are they like way down there now? Because they used to be number 1. So I'm just curious.
Yeah,
what that means
dropped.
for Maverick in comparison to all other films.
I don't think it's possible that Titanic's at 2.2 Bs.
Mm-hmm.
And so Maverick definitely hasn't done that.
But this is a domestic
2.2
record.
B
right?
worldwide.
This is a domestic record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just wondering domestically, where does Maverick land on the chart?
Right now it's at number 20. It's at 1.2 Bs.
Okay. I mean,
Domestically.
that is a huge hit, but seems like you're reaching to report on something.
Well, I mean, I think for Paramount, like that's a good headline. They're saying this is our biggest movie since Titanic. That's pretty much what they're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also leaving out that they're number 20.
Well, 20 is
Right.
pretty good.
Yeah. Like how many?
Paramount Pictures has been around for like 120 years.
No, this is not in Paramount's 20. This is of all box office.
Right. I'm just saying the fact that they only have one movie in the top 20 is not good.
No, that doesn't mean that.
What does it mean? If it's their highest grossing domestic movie and Maverick is in the 20th slot, then they only have one movie.
No, Titanic's number 3. So I'm not exactly sure how to interpret this.
But are you looking at a worldwide, Zach, or domestic?
So in international, worldwide,
Yes.
it's Maverick is 20, Titanic's 3. For
but,
domestic, Maverick just beat Titanic.
Right.
but we don't know we don't know what number
don't know
they
the
are
rank.
domestically. Okay, that's what. Yeah. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless, thanks, Troy, for the email. Zach's got one more for us.
I do. This one is from Emily. Hey, Zach, Kyle, and James. Thank you for reviewing the movie Lightyear on episode 535 on the podcast. Let me just say it's so helpful that she says the episode number, because then I can know exactly. I can go straight to it. So
Yeah,
that's very helpful.
Let me also say it's nice to be thanked.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. I saw Lightyear the day it came out, and I really enjoyed it. I agree with Kyle on this point. The Buzz Lightyear character in this movie is quite different from the Buzz Lightyear toy in the Toy Story movies. I also agree that this movie could have stood on its own apart from the Toy Story ones. However, it is neat to think about this being the same movie that Andy watched to become interested in the Buzz Lightyear toy. I agree with Zach that Lightyear is a great movie. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars, and I really enjoyed it. And I would see it again, even as an adult. I liked when Zach talked about overall movie themes, and he brought up this one. What do you do with failure? Wow, what a great thing to reflect upon. I think I will use this with my future 4th graders for sure. Thanks for another great episode of Cinereelists. A big fan, Emily. So I think what I'm hearing is that I'm influencing the future generation by
Your
by
keen
suggesting-
insight on Lightyear.
Yeah, exactly.
The theme
So-
of Lightyear.
So if 20 years from now we start seeing, people in the business world handling failure well, I played a small part.
Yeah, I think we call it the Zach effect.
Yeah, clever name. That was good. You quick on your feet.
I know it's just I'm firing all cylinders tonight.
Speaking of self-absorbed, is it wrong that in hearing Zach read this email, I agree with Kyle, I agree with Zach, but nowhere in here is there an I agree with James.
Well, I
So,
mean, so
you're
she
right, that
sent
is
us another
self-absorbed.
email just to Zach and I I can't read this on the air, James, about
Okay.
your opinions. It's
So it was a mercy deletion. Is that what
yes,
you're saying?
yeah.
Okay.
We're just trying to save your fragile ego.
I appreciate that.
Emily, in your next email, try to throw James a bone for
For sure.
something. Give him a little nugget.
I
that you
feel
agree with.
a
You
little
can be
left
like,
out.
I liked James' voice.
Well, that's
She doesn't have
unlikely,
to
but-
lie.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
No
don't lie.
lying.
You're right. You can say,
I want
I
genuine
agree that James also saw this movie.
There you go. Perfect. I just need the words I agree with James. I need it somewhere in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
If the
agree with
other guys
James
are
that
gonna
this
get it-
movie is by Pixar.
Yeah. The other guys are going to get it. I want it to. That's how I roll.
Yeah.
Thanks, Emily. We appreciate it. If you would like to send us an email, it's pretty easy. heyguys@cinereelists.com. Send one over to us and we'll discuss it on a future episode. Let's get into this week's main event film. It's a comic book movie that was released in theaters titled Thor: Love and Thunder. We're going to talk about it right after this clip.
They're in the Shadow Realm.
How'd you know?
The atmosphere there has a darkness like no other. It's as if color fears to tread. It's unmistakable.
Well, then, if it's color we need, let's bring the rainbow.
Bring the rainbow. Is that a catchphrase or something?
She's only been a Thor for a minute. I mean, saving lives she's quite good at, but the rest of it, she needs work.
How many catchphrases have there been?
A lot.
Yep. Jump the gun.
But hang on, he moves through shadows and he's going to the Shadow Realm. It seems like that's where he's going to be the most powerful.
You're right. We can't just go marching in there. It could be a trap.
Are you thinking what I think you're thinking?
I'm thinking it.
What are we thinking?
Thinking
I'm thinking it too.
Omnipotency.
That was Thor: Love and Thunder. This is a 2022 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics featuring the character Thor. This was directed by Taika Waititi and written by Taika Waititi and Jennifer Caton Robinson. The movie stars Chris Hemsworth, Christian Bale, Tessa Thompson, Jamie Alexander, Taika Waititi, Russell Crowe, and Natalie Portman, amongst others. The official IMDb plot synopsis for Thor: Love and Thunder is: Thor enlists the help of Valkyrie, Korg, and ex-girlfriend Jane Foster to fight Gore, the God Butcher, who intends to make the gods extinct. What did you guys think of Thor: Love and Thunder? Does anybody want to give us a little more background on what this movie's about? We're like a full week out, so I think we're going to
Yeah.
split this up into like two discussions. One will be spoiler free for the most part, knowing that we're a week out of this thing. Most people have seen it. We're not going to fully spoil it, but maybe we might be a little looser than normal. And then at the end of the podcast, after the credits, we'll do a full no holds barred spoiler discussion. Kyle, can you just give us a little bit of background on what's going on in this movie?
Of course, James. So this is the first Thor movie since the Avengers Infinity War Endgame saga.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Endgame ended with Thor joining the Guardians of the Galaxy to
Sure.
go on adventures with them.
Mm-hmm.
So this movie kind of starts at the tail end of their adventures. You see the Guardians are in this movie briefly. They're doing one of their crazy missions with Thor, and then he kind of realizes that he needs something else from his life, from this world. So he travels back to... Does he travel back to New Asgard, or does he go looking for Jane Foster? I honestly don't remember which one he does.
Jane shows up out of nowhere. So
He
he
shows,
definitely
that's
doesn't go
right.
back.
Okay, yeah. So he goes back to New Asgard, gets fit, and is trying to figure out where his life is going. Jane comes out of nowhere. Then this God Butcher shows up, Gorg?
Mhm. Gore.
And Gore, thank you. And Jane, Thor, and Valkyrie team up to defeat the God Butcher.
Yeah, that's roughly what this movie's about.
Yeah.
What did you think of it, Kyle?
I had a good time with this movie.
Okay.
I really enjoy Chris Hemsworth's performance of Thor.
Mhm.
I've heard him described as a himbo is the best way to put it. And where he has this swagger, he has this confidence, and a little bit of obliviousness to what's going on around him, but
Mhm.
there's a charm to it. And I think that Chris Hemsworth has just really dialed in that character and makes watching Thor movies a lot of fun. And then Taika Waititi with Ragnarok, and now this one is a good addition, where they were able to find the comedy side of Chris Hemsworth and keep running with that. What I really enjoyed most about this movie, though, was its oh my goodness, how inconsequential it was to the entire MCU,
Mhm.
where there was a bad guy, and it was a good bad guy. I really liked Christian Bale's performance. Like he's creepy in this movie, especially how he like appears out of shadows, and just his overall character and his overall performance was really effective. And there are stakes for the characters, but this was not one of these if we don't stop him the world is going to end situations. It really was, if we don't stop him we're going to end situation. And it was refreshing that this wasn't a movie where the greater good or the entire universe or blah 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 was all on the line, and it really was a much more personal story that they had to deal with. And this movie didn't feel like you needed a ton of MCU knowledge going in, especially like phase 4, the current stuff. There wasn't tie-ins to shows. There weren't a lot of other characters popping in. Even the Taika Waititi character sort of summarized what was going on in the previous Thor movies for new initiates, which I thought was fine. For me, that made this movie more enjoyable, that it really kind of stood alone as a Thor movie within this universe, but I doubt it has any huge implications for the entire universe, and that is totally fine. It was great seeing Natalie Portman back. She was barely in the first Thor movie. Am I correct? Like I know she was in it. I don't really remember her.
No,
being
she
in it.
was. She was absolutely in
She
it.
was a big
the
part
first
of
one?
it.
Was she a big part of it? Okay, she is not what I remember from
She
the
was in
first
like
Thor
half
movie.
of it.
Okay. But then she was gone for Dark World. I mean, she's been pretty much out of the MCU since she was in that first Thor movie. So 11 years back, 11 years later, she's back. And I really liked how they used her. It didn't feel like, oh, she's just back, but they actually inserted her into the movie and gave her a character and something to do. So yeah, I had a good time with this movie. I don't know if I'm gonna remember it in a week, but for 2 hours in the theater, which by the way, I was so happy when I learned the runtime on this movie was 2 hours, and they weren't gonna give us 2 hours and 40 minutes like all MCU movies have been in the last decade. I think this movie could have been even shorter. I don't know about you guys, but little drag in the middle for me. But overall, had a good time. Zach, what did you think?
You know, all Marvel movies are kind of fun. And so for that reason, I enjoyed my time.
Mhm.
But I wasn't crazy about this film at all. I could boil it down to a couple things, but I don't particularly think Taika Waititi is funny. And so he has a certain comedy sensibility that I just don't get behind usually. And it's really pervasive in this. The Taika Waititi kind of sense of humor. It's kind of like a, I don't know how to describe it. He kind of like embraces cheesiness in like a, I don't know, like a fun, laid back way, kind of a thing that for me, it just like the tone of this movie is constantly shifting. And uh I not in a fun way for me, like in a non fun way for me. I don't particularly find him funny. Like I liked Free Guy a ton, and my least favorite part was him and his character, and I've liked things that he's attached to for sure, but I've always felt like I would have liked him more if he didn't write them or wasn't like in control of some of the visual gags, I guess.
Is it because he tends to kind of point out his jokes? Is that part of it?
He like underlines all of
Yes.
his jokes in a it's kind of like the kid in class that like needs attention, and so he makes a lot of jokes to get attention. It feels like Taika Waititi as a director enters a room and needs you to pay attention to him, kind of a thing. Um I like Thor as a character. I think Hemsworth is a perfect actor for it. I like how the character is written. Um I really liked Christian Bale. I thought his character was a strong character. I love that we started with him and his daughter, and again, in a very like sad, dramatic part, which tonally doesn't work with most of the film. Um, Ultimately, this movie was kind of a case where uh, I I felt more sympathy for the villain than for the good guys. Like I think the villain is right and justified, and the guys that we're rooting for, I don't know why we're rooting for them. You know what I mean? Like the gods in this universe are usually pretty terrible people, right? And Christian Bale's character is kind of right for wanting what he wants. So I don't know why I'm necessarily rooting against him in like an ultimate sense.
Yeah.
So I found that I couldn't really, get behind. I mean, Thor, like, he doesn't care about people really. Like in that first battle where he's like just joking around and not really doing anything, he kind of doesn't care at all. The god that Christian Bale initially talks to in that oasis, I mean that was an awful god, right? He's just terrible. Um, and later on with a bunch of other gods that they meet, they're all just kind of self-absorbed and terrible. So I don't know. So part of that is just like, why do I care about them beating him? And then the final thing I would say is um Natalie Portman to me felt out of place in this.
Really?
I just she always felt to me like she's wearing a wig and is in a Halloween costume. Like she just didn't feel like Chris Hemsworth felt like Thor, and she felt like she was wearing a Thor costume. I don't know how to explain it better than that. Yeah. So those are my thoughts, my brief thoughts on the film. I'm curious what James thought.
I mean, I generally agree with what both of you guys have said. I enjoyed the movie. I think it's meant to be enjoyed, and so there's enough in there that most people will watch it. I think people who like don't watch movies with a critical eye, which is a totally fine way to watch movies, will walk out of this and be like, "That was fun," and then they'll move on. And those of us that do, I think, can see some of the issues that were on the screen, even though we can enjoy it at the same time. Enjoy kind of the general
Yeah.
gist of what the movie gave us.
Yeah.
And that's where I am. Like the tone of the movie, I felt like the first Thor movie was like all the other MCU movies at the time, like the early Iron Mans and the Captain America, and then they had the Thor, and it was like this fits with those movies over there.
Mhm.
Just happens to have Thor in it. Then Thor: The Dark World came out. It got really dark and kind of slow and boring, and it didn't work. And then for part 3, they were like, okay, let's transition Thor into a more comedic character. We won't go dark at all. We'll go light. We can't just do it in one movie. We'll just like have this movie in the middle called Ragnarok that's like way lighter than the original because he's a cosmic god, and why not? We can do that very easily. So they did that in Ragnarok, and it worked very well for me. And then I feel like they decided they don't need the bridge anymore. They're just going to make it a straight comedy and not really worry about grounding it in what came before it at all. And that was fun to watch, but also kind of empty. Like in the end, I just kind of felt like, okay. I don't know. I mean, stuff happened, but none of it was like not that I need every Marvel movie to be super consequential in the grand picture of things, but even like what Thor went through, I'm not sure he really cared that he went through it. Like I never got the vibe that he was destroyed by what was happening here. Like I felt much like Zach, I was far more invested in Christian Bale and like his Mad Max-esque intro.
Yeah.
And then while they were joke telling throughout the movie, I was like, can we just go back to Christian Bale? I was digging like what they were doing there. And Christian Bale is just, I mean, he is, I'm sure everybody's giving their all, but he's like way overdoing it for the movie, for the rest of the movie that's happening around him. I mean, it's like it's what's his name in Batman? The actor that Zach hates. You know,
I like Heath
Paul
Ledger.
Paul Dano. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like
Oh yeah.
it's like a Paul Dano villain in a movie that's a straight comedy around that villain. You know what I mean? Like he's the one thing in the movie that doesn't feel like a parody of things that have come before. And that's balanced enough to get through the rest of the movie and like not completely tank the thing, but not enough for me to kind of feel like the moments when Christian Bale wasn't on screen was fully worth it for me. Now, had they made the villain comedic, maybe it'd be easier to accept as like, it's just a comedy. We can move on. There's not a whole lot to criticize here. But the fact that you have a guy like Christian Bale who is doing amazing things with so very little makes me feel like there's a lot left on the table here with the act of just making it a comedy. And I've read that like there's a much longer cut and that there was like some imposition on Marvel's part to make it 2 hours. I know Jeff Goldblum and Peter Dinklage and the Queen from Game of Thrones, they all filmed things.
Oh
for
yeah,
this
Lena
movie.
Headey. That's right. She was cut.
Oh, I bet they were gods.
Yeah, supposedly there's a lot more with the God Butcher like hunting down gods that we didn't see, and I feel like that's the movie I want to see, and not just because we didn't get to see it, just because that was my favorite. That was the part I was the most into with this movie.
And I like the shadow monsters. I thought that was clever.
Oh, and at the end, even when things come around, the visuals at the end were amazing.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll
really
say.
cool
for
visuals.
sure. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, even throughout the movie, the neon of the movie, the metal of the movie, I liked all those things. It's when the characters were standing in like relatively nondescript rooms and doing like circular jokes that I was just kind of like, I mean, I don't hate this, but it doesn't feel like we're going anywhere with this. And so it felt like wasted time when they could have been character building or some of those other things. And I also agree that I never felt Natalie Portman was out of place in these movies, but she definitely felt out of place in this one. Like I felt like she was um hamming it up in a weird way, which is
Yeah.
not a quality that I attribute to Natalie Portman on a regular basis. Like I can't think of another thing I've ever seen her in where I felt
It felt like an SNL skit.
right.
like, yeah.
For sure. It felt like an SNL skit. That's exactly what it felt like.
I disagree with you guys.
And
She worked completely for me in this movie.
I kind of feel like Chris Hemsworth does the same thing, but since we've seen him do that in a movie already, maybe, and even like the early Thor movies, there were moments in those where he feels like he's an SNL player as well, that maybe we were eased into that a little better than we were with her. But Kyle disagrees.
Well, I do wonder if it's the wig, because I will agree that I did find her hair to be odd. I understand it was blonde because now Thor, right? You guys see the trailer. However, it was weird seeing Natalie Portman with long blonde hair. So I could see that could be one thing that could start pushing you to take her out of the movie or feel like, okay, this feels like a sketch or like she doesn't belong in this movie.
Mhm.
Still, her presence worked for me, and I liked her, what she was going for comedic wise. The fact that she couldn't, like, her character was trying to be like Thor, but couldn't. He was new to the whole thing.
She played it so broad with the running gag of like I need a tagline or something. It just felt so.
It was
I don't know.
very try hard.
Yeah.
I guess it didn't bother me. That didn't bother me.
It didn't.
It felt very first draft to me.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but I think it could have been done better, especially since we'll get into this as a spoiler. She has like a compelling motivation to be in the scenes she's in, I would say. And yet, I don't know. It just felt like it wasn't treated seriously enough. Like the motivation for her to be in those scenes didn't feel like it was treated seriously enough because of, the writing of her character in those scenes or what we saw in the edit. I don't know where it went wrong, but, and then when they bring that back around in the end, they also brought back Gore, and I was far more interested in Gore than what was going on with her. So I don't think it's a Natalie Portman thing. I think it's the construction of the movie or whatever happened over the course. I'm not saying Natalie Portman did a bad job. She just felt out of place in a movie that tonally was not as balanced as it could have been.
Right. And all the kids, I understand like kids are children, right? And so they like aren't going to have the acting chops of like a professional adult and that kind of thing. But like you have to know then that if you put kids that aren't necessarily amazing actors, it's just going to seem like a community theater kind of situation whenever the kids are on screen.
Are you talking about like all the Asgard kids?
The
are you
Asgard
talking about
kids.
you guys thought they were bad?
I don't think they were bad. They just, anytime they were on screen, I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it felt like cheap Marvel TV kind of acting, like kids,
I think all they had to do was say, Thor, I'm scared, and react to Gore. Like, they had two simple things, and it was fine.
It was fine.
I feel like you guys are not picking it apart, but you're definitely going in deeper on this movie than I was.
It was fine. I'll
It was
agree with
fine.
that.
It was fine.
Okay.
But
I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't need like Jacob Tremblay or whatever in there being like, Gore, you're whatever he's doing, right? I don't need like the best kid actor to be on the screen for a couple seconds here and there.
I agree with that. But you also, if you're going to have kids tell bad jokes to the camera, if the option is that or like show them be frightened a couple times and then cut out the 10 minutes of scenes of them telling bad jokes to the camera, then cut out the bad jokes to the camera and just have them
Yeah.
be frightened.
Because when you're writing a movie, you can write anything you want. And so you don't have to lean into the like, let's have more screen time with the kids.
Yeah.
Because it does like add a certain level of like, I can't expect these kids to all be Christian Bale, and that's fine. But that is what you're including in your movie now.
I mean, obviously, this movie needed less Jeff Goldblum and Peter Dinklage and more kids, and that's what we got.
The other thing too is I kind of feel like this was structured like a like more than a lot of Marvel movies, like a movie that kids might like. Like there just seemed like a lot of kiddie type stuff.
Except for one thing.
There was like a couple
Except for
times though where
the
it
bad
went
guy?
overboard, like in the opposite direction.
Well, so
The Russell Crowe scene in particular, I would say.
yeah, and some of
Yes.
the things he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say this felt like the most made for kids Marvel movie that I've seen,
Mm-hmm.
except for two things. One, Russell Crowe's character. And two, they had a lot of S words in this movie.
I didn't even notice that.
I didn't know if Marvel movies have ever done that before, but there were a lot of S words. And the biggest laugh that my theater got was about 3/4 through the film. One of the characters says the S word again, and then like a 9-year-old boy in the theater said the S word out loud, and the whole crowd laughed because you got the sense that like he had never heard the word before and was just repeating it because he'd heard it so many times in the movie. And I was just like, it just felt out of place for like something that felt otherwise like for kids.
Oh, I was thinking more of like nude Thor was a little.
Oh yeah, and I forgot about naked
I like all
Thor.
the jokes around that too, which were pretty subtle. But go ahead, Kyle.
That fight with Russell Crowe,
Yeah, that was.
it's a super bloody fight, except all the blood's gold. And
I
that was
actually-
something where I was like this is if this fight was with red blood, this would be an R-rated movie.
Absolutely.
But the fact that it would have been like 300, but the fact that they made it gold, it was like, oh, it's fine. Like people are covered in gold blood
Yeah.
at the end of that scene.
I actually liked that and thought that was funny and also
Yeah,
interesting.
I was fine with that.
Yeah, no, I'm just like it was just interesting to say the only reason why this is getting by is because it's gold and not red.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, I forgot that Thor is naked in this film.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, just
Yes.
his blood.
So there's a couple things in the movie that you wouldn't say belongs in a kid's film, but including the gore stuff. Like you wouldn't put that in a kid's
No.
film, or at least not at that intensity level. And yet the rest of it kind of feels like it's fine for like a 6-year-old, maybe even younger. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I enjoyed myself. I just feel like maybe with a little restraint and a little more lean into like, let's make these characters as interesting as possible instead of as funny as possible. I think maybe it could have been Ragnarok or better. And it definitely
like-
wasn't that.
No, it's
Like,
not.
and
Yeah.
I'll give an example. The goats screaming
Mm.
was funny. And it would have been funnier if they used it more judiciously. But they used it every time they
Yeah.
possibly could.
It was funny the first couple times, but you're right. I completely agree. At one point, they scream and they crash into like a planet, and then there's a scream. And I was like, why? Like the planet crash was funny enough, and then like you said, he did the Taika Waititi thing where let's do one more joke.
Yeah.
Let's have the goat scream for the umpteenth time. I totally agree with you on that one.
One thing I really liked was the metaphor that they kept coming back to with the hammer and the axe being like the exes and the new significant others.
Like the love triangle between his weapons.
Yeah.
Yes.
I liked that idea of like, oh, now I'm with this weapon and I used to be with this weapon. I thought that was handled better than the
actual humans.
the actual humans relationship. I just did not feel that chemistry at all between them.
Yeah.
But between the weapons, I did.
You felt chemistry between. I mean, obviously he's got chemistry with Mjolnir. That's his best bud.
I was also kind of bummed that the Tessa Thompson character was just kind of like tour guide in the movie. Like she didn't really have anything to do.
She kind of could care less about
what was going
doing
on.
any work for any. All of the gods in this movie are just they don't care about
Right.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fine. I enjoyed it, but I don't know.
I like the cameos; they were funny.
I liked the soundtrack. I at first when they played one Guns N' Roses song, I never watched the trailer, so I evidently that they played the songs from the movie in the trailer, but when they played one Guns N' Roses song, I was like, okay, Guns N' Roses, that seems pretty obvious. Then they play a second one, and I was like, are they gonna just play Guns N' Roses in this? And they have other bands, but then they played a third Guns N' Roses song, and I was like, okay. The goat screaming didn't work on me, but the repetition of the Guns N' Roses
Yeah.
song I enjoyed.
Though it was, I don't know why one of the kids had to be a Guns N' Roses fan.
Yeah, I mean that's another one of those things that I think Taika Waititi thinks is funny,
Yeah.
but
I was like,
It
okay,
wasn't
sure,
funny.
be a fan.
Yeah.
Like it can just be in the movie. We don't need to then have someone like the band in the. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else for Thor: Love and Thunder?
I got some spoiler things to talk about, but
Just
no.
spoiler
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
Great. Let's letterbox this movie. This one's hard for me to letterbox just because it's like, do you rank this based on all movies or do you rank this based on like movies within the MCU? I don't know. I don't normally rank movies that way, but I kind of feel like I'm going to this time, and I'm going to give this one a 3.
I give it a 3.
3.5.
I think against all movies, it's a 2.5. It's just kind of average, but a 3 it is.
But you think it's above that for Marvel movies?
It's above average for Marvel movies. People are like saying this is one of the worst. They have not watched
No,
Iron
no,
Man
no,
2
no.
or The Incredible Hulk in a long time.
Yeah.
Or Thor: The Dark World. Those are way worse than, at least this one tried to be entertaining. Those were
Hold on.
those are like
How many
brutal.
Marvel movies are there? Like
There are
24 or
28?
something?
This was
Something
number
like that.
29. No, this is number 29.
Okay, so James, to be above average, you'd have to be able to name 14 or 15 Marvel movies that are worse than this. You think 14 Marvel movies are worse than this?
Do you want me to try?
Yeah.
Can I pull up the list?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, of
you
course.
can.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you
Name
as
14.
I type this. I just named 3.
Yeah.
Right? Iron Man 2.
So 11 more.
I'd put Iron Man 3 below this.
Okay.
Okay.
That's 2.
4.
Incredible
Yeah, 2.
Let's see if
Uh-huh.
I can do this off the top of my head. Incredible
can leave-
Hulk.
No, pull it up. It'll be quicker.
What else did I already say?
We'll just pull it up and it'll
Yeah.
be very easy
Just go through chronologically. You can just be like worse.
Okay. I would put Thor: The Dark World below this.
Don't let him see. Zach, don't let him see the count. I don't want him to be like, oh, then the Endgame that was worse than this. Like, I don't want to get desperate. towards the end
I
there.
said Iron Man 3. Did I already put that one in here?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm at 4. Avengers: Age of Ultron. I don't like that movie. Doctor Strange is a movie I like, but not as much as this one. Spider-Man: Homecoming. Man, then they get decent. Oh, now they get bad. Ant-Man and the Wasp, I didn't enjoy as much as this. Captain Marvel, I definitely didn't enjoy more than this. Spider-Man: Far From Home is worse than Homecoming. What are we at? I stopped counting.
We're at 9.
Black Widow, I didn't like more than this. Eternals, I definitely didn't like more than this. No Way Home was good. And definitely better
I
than
think you
this.
like No Way Home.
So
more than this
12.
one.
I'm at 12.
Okay, so 12 out of 29 are worse than this.
Yes.
So this, I would say, is below average Marvel.
Probably. You're probably right. But
No,
in general is better than average.
I would say this
Which is where I
average.
landed, like 3.
if he's got 12 below, then this lands in the middle, right? It's not the dead center, But if you think of like a curve, I would say this is in the middle for James.
Well,
Right, but middle
12
for me typically is 2.5. That's why
but-
Zach's arguing this.
but
But
is
Marvel
that
in
only
general
one-
is a little higher.
Does that mean only one Marvel movie can be 2.5 and everything else has to be on either side of that? Like you
well,
can.
no, but he was saying it's above average. It should be a 3 out of Marvels. But
Oh,
if it's,
I
there's
see. Okay.
17 that are better and 12 that are worse.
I hear
I
what
don't
you're
think
saying.
it's going to be a 3.
Okay. Well,
But
James,
but
you
to
can-
James's point, Marvel movies tend to be better than just your average movie, and so
Correct,
that's
yeah.
why it's a 3 on the all movie scale.
Yeah.
Right. You got it.
We got there.
All right. If you've seen Thor: Love and Thunder and you disagree with us, send us an email or continue listening after the podcast for our spoiler chat. All right. We also have a game this week. This one was brought to us by Kyle.
yeah.
What is this? You found this in Iceland?
I found it in Iceland. It is a movie trivia card game.
Okay.
I bought it for 979 krona, which is
Literally
about
says movie trivia on it.
movie trivia. Yep.
Yeah.
It looks
so
like a VHS tape.
it does actually look like a VHS tape. You're right on the side there. It is a product of the U.S. I'm not sure why it was in Iceland, but I bought it there because I'm like, hey, it's
Okay.
movie trivia,
Sure.
and it's 100 trivia questions. Now I looked at these and they're pretty easy. So I don't think we should just play straight trivia because I think you guys will get them all really fast. We could do our crazy like feral rules and like the call it easy, the gimme rule, but I think we're gonna do something different.
Okay.
We're gonna do this Jeopardy style, where I'm gonna give you the answer, and then you need to tell me what the question is.
I'm awful at Jeopardy.
And
That will be so hard.
so
The
here,
movie will be like the birdcage and like, what's the question?
right. So this is how it's gonna work. Just because we're gonna be here forever. So we'll go back and forth. I'll ask like James. I'll ask him. I'll give him the answer. He has to give me the question. If he's not close, I'll go to Zach. If you're not close, then both of you need to make up what the question is, and whoever gives me the best question gets the point.
So,
So our second guess will be the winner. Like our second best attempt at the question will decide.
Well, but yeah, I'll decide between you two. You will both give it to me, yes. Unless one of you actually gets the question right on your first go.
I just like when we're competing against each other, it's our second string. It's our like second best attempt at a good answer.
Or maybe it's more of like a which answer would Kyle like?
Okay.
Right.
All right.
You might need to play to the judge here. So
all right.
Zach, you're always the scorekeeper emeritus. Would you mind?
That's true. I would not mind.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna give this first one to James.
Okay.
James, the answer is Black Panther.
And now I'm supposed to give you a question that results in the answer Black Panther.
Yes, hopefully the question on the card. But if neither of you get the question on the card right, then you have a second chance to give me what you think is the best question for that answer.
How about what is a movie? What is the only MCU Marvel movie to ever win a non-technical Oscar?
No.
What Marvel movie featured Chadwick Boseman as the head of Wakanda?
Ooh, you know what? I'm going to give that to you, Zach, because the question is, which superhero movie is set in Wakanda? And you got the key word there. So that's a point for Zach. All right. Zach, here is your answer. The Emperor's New Groove.
No.
What animated film featured Spade as a llama?
I'm going to give that to you. The question is, what animated movie featured characters voiced by David Spade, Eartha Kitt, and Patrick Warburton? All right.
Yes. James is just trying so hard not to roll his eyes.
James.
Yes.
Now you've heard the question. You've heard the actual answers now a couple times, so this will help you out. Ocean's 8.
What is the Ocean's 11 prequel?
Incorrect. Zach?
Oh, it's not a prequel. Now that I think
No.
about it.
What Ocean's 11 franchise film featured an all-female cast reprising, that's what I'm going with.
All right, I'll give it to Zach. Yes. Which heist movie features Sandra Bullock, Kate Blanchett, and Rihanna?
You got to mention all-female cast.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Zach. Andre the Giant.
Oh, it's not a film this time.
No.
What was the name of the wrestler turned actor that played this character in The Princess Bride?
Yeah. Which professional wrestler featured in The Princess Bride? All right, James. Time for some points. Ready? Here we go. This is gonna be great. James. Rosie Huntington Whiteley.
Have you ever watched Jeopardy? They don't formulate questions this way.
What do you mean?
I mean,
I know.
they do ask them in this manner, but the questions that are the answers are the short part
Yes,
of it.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
that.
You're not coming up with long sentence questions. The answers are like long sentences, and then you come up with the question.
I know. I'm just saying, if we were sitting here playing the game of which professional wrestlers featured in The Princess Bride, you guys would just tie because these are all
Sure. I'm
except
fine
for
with
this
that.
first one,
I understand.
so,
I'm just
yeah.
saying this is Jeopardy style, but the questions are not Jeopardy style. That's for
no,
sure.
correct.
Okay, I was
yes.
not
Good
listening.
observation.
So
Okay.
go ahead. What was it again?
Rosie Huntington Whiteley.
Rosie Huntington Whiteley.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's obviously an actress, I'm assuming. And don't know of a movie that person has been in. And I have MCU on the brain, but I don't think it's an MCU thing. So it's probably
Go with your gut.
Sure. Mike, you're saying it's an MCU thing?
No, I'm just saying go with your gut.
Oh,
James, you're trying really hard for something that you have no chance of getting.
that's absolutely
whatsoever.
true. What is an actress?
I'm be a little bit more specific. Zach, Rosie. So James, now you might want to start thinking of a good answer, a good question to this answer, because I'm not sure if Zach's gonna get it. Rosie Huntington Whiteley. Zach.
Who is the first actress to win an Academy Award?
No, incorrect. Okay, so now each of you are going to give me a question, and whoever I think is the best question to fit this answer is going to get the point.
Can you give me the answer again?
Yeah,
one time.
Rosie Huntington Whiteley. James,
Who
what is
is
Mhm.
who is the real life person that was played by what's her name in Titanic? I'm forgetting
Okay.
the actress's name.
Zach?
What's the actress's name from Titanic?
Rosie Huntington Whiteley.
No. The actress who played Rosie Huntington White
Oh,
in the Titanic.
Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet.
Okay, all right.
Okay. What was the legal name when Rosie O'Donnell married Jonathan Huntley Whiteley?
All right. I'm gonna give James the points on this one.
Didn't even understand his answer.
He understood it.
I
Her
get
character's name was Rose.
Like, I don't think Huntington Whiteley is a real person. Here is the actual question. Which model replaced Megan Fox as Sam's love interest in the third movie in the Transformers series? Obviously, everyone knows Rosie Huntington Whiteley.
I'm proud of the fact that I didn't know that.
James are on the board. All right, Zach, your answer is The Grinch.
Jim Carrey starred in this live-action remake of a classic Christmas animated tale. Now we're getting to the part where, since I'm ahead, there's a little bias where he's
okay.
gonna not want to give me the point that he normally would have.
I'm gonna give it to you.
I bet he didn't have a key word in there though.
Which Christmas character has been portrayed by Jim Carrey and by Benedict Cumberbatch?
Ah.
Yeah, so I was saying. All right.
Who did Benedict Cumberbatch? When did that happen?
He did the animated version.
Oh, okay.
All right,
I
James.
did not know that.
FedEx.
Oh,
What is
I know
the
this.
company that Tom Hanks worked for in Castaway?
Correct. You got it. Yep.
Well done.
Nice.
Correct.
Zach.
That's correct.
Shrek.
What was DreamWorks' breakout highest grossing hit starring Eddie Murphy and Mike Myers as a lovable ogre?
Wow, why don't you like just give the whole IMDb rundown?
Incorrect.
That's how these
Wrong.
work.
James. Shrek.
What is the first non-Pixar movie to win animated Oscar?
I'm gonna give it to you. Which movie was the first to win animated Oscar? It's not the first non-Pixar. It's the first.
Really, I
That
thought
was
they
our
had like a run.
closest.
I thought they had like a run, and then somebody else jumped in, but evidently
No,
not.
the category didn't come out until the year Shrek came out.
Mm.
All right. James is back to you.
Okay.
Steven Spielberg.
What is the director with the most box office of all time?
Incorrect. Zach. Steven Spielberg.
Who directed such hits as Jaws, E.T., and Jurassic Park?
Incorrect. All right. James, I need you to give me what you think is the best answer or best question for Steven Spielberg.
What is the name of the most popular director of all time?
Okay. Zach.
Yeah. What director have the most people seen the most films of?
All right. I'm going to give that one to James because that was the lesser bad of the two.
Yeah.
The question is, who directed Schindler's List?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. I think this one is Zach's question.
Okay.
Okay.
Correct.
Stephen Hawking.
All right. Yeah. Who was the theoretical physicist played by Eddie Redmayne in the film blah blah blah?
Wait, I know the film.
Sorry, incorrect, Zach.
What is the theoretical physicist
Theory of
depicted in the
Everything.
movie The Theory of Everything? Why'd you give
That
it to me?
Point to James. All right. How you guys doing?
What was the actual question?
Oh, sorry. The question was, who was the subject of the biopic, The Theory of Everything?
Nice.
Yes. I think we've done 5 each.
Yep. We're tied.
Oh, you're tied. Okay, let's do a couple
Yeah.
more then. All right, let's do a couple more here. James, The Wizard of Oz.
What is the first movie to be in color? I don't know if that's true, but
Incorrect. Sorry. Zach, The Wizard of Oz.
What was Judy Garland's breakout role?
Incorrect. Sorry. All right. Now you guys give me the best answer, best question. I'm going to Zach go first this time.
Okay. What movies shoes are in the Smithsonian?
Okay. James?
what famous 1930s movie is best known for the ruby slippers?
Oh, we both went to the shoes. Yeah, I gotta give this to James just because Zach, you're a little vague with what movie's shoes are in the Smithsonian. There might be more than one pair.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah. and that would be a bad question to write. All right, point to James. All right.
What was the question? How close?
Oh,
was
sorry. The
that?
question is, which classic movie features the character Dorothy Gale?
Oh, we were both way off.
Zach was kind of there with he's got the actress playing the character. All right, Zach. Frodo Baggins.
Who carries the Ring of Power in the Lord of the Rings films? What Hobbit carries the Ring of Power in the Lord of the Rings films?
Incorrect. James.
I mean, I'm trying to remember the guy's name, the actor who played. Oh, I'm thinking of somebody totally different. Name the narrator of the Hobbit movie. The Hobbit movies.
Incorrect. That's not even the narrator of Hobbit movies.
He's not the narrator?
No,
Isn't it
Bilbo's the
Bilbo?
narrator.
Bilbo.
Bilbo. Okay, James, what is your best question for Frodo Baggins?
Oh, Frodo is okay. Yeah, I see where I went wrong here.
Yes, good.
What character did Elijah Wood play in the Lord of the Rings movies?
Okay, and Zach?
Who did Sean Astin pick up in the Lord of the Rings films?
Point to James because he got the question exactly right.
Nice.
All right. I think this is to James. Face Off.
What John Woo directed film all starred John Travolta and Nicolas Cage?
I'll give it to you. Point for James. Which action movie stars Nicolas Cage and John Travolta? Zach?
Yeah.
A Bus.
So easy.
What is the vehicle in the movie Speed that can't go less than 55 miles per hour?
What vehicle is rigged with a bomb in the 1994 movie Speed? Point to Zach.
I recently rewatched that on 4K like a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago. 4K is great, by the way. The movie, however, is way cheesier than I remembered.
Is it? That doesn't surprise me.
Way cheesier than I remembered. I mean, it's still fun, but it's very 90s, I would say. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give you 2 more each, okay?
Okay.
All right. Here we go. James, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
What movie did George Lucas produce and Steven Spielberg direct?
Incorrect. Zach, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
What sequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark actually took place before the film?
Incorrect. All right, guys. I need the best. I need you guys are you're writing better questions than these. I need the best question from James.
What? In what Harrison Ford led film do people eat monkey brains in?
All right, Zach.
What house of worship has been set up in New Zealand for an early 90s video game?
I don't understand that, so point to James.
The Temple of Doom.
Is that true?
No.
Oh, okay.
But if someone built a house of worship to an early 90s video game, that's what they would call
I
it.
see. Yeah, you're being too clever. The question is, what is the name of the second movie in the Indiana Jones series?
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Let's see. I think this one, whose turn is it? I don't even know whose turn it is anymore.
I don't know.
All right, let's go to Zach. John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd.
What SNL alum starred in Blues Brothers?
You got it.
Oh, easy.
James,
Yes.
Eyes Wide Shut.
What Stanley Kubrick film starred Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman?
You got that almost word for word. Nice job. And the final question, this goes to Zach. I think you should get this right away, Zach. John Goodman.
John Goodman.
John Goodman.
John Goodman. Who became king in King Ralph?
Incorrect. But
That's
I
what
like
I
where
was.
you're
That's what I
going.
was gonna say.
James, John Goodman.
John Goodman. I mean, so many things. Who played a DEA agent in Red State? The chances of that being the question are slim.
Wow, I can't believe you got that. Incorrect. All right. So from each of you, and this could be, I'm not sure where we are. This could be the game on the line, or it could be a blowout. I
Mhm.
need the best question, which gives me the answer, John Goodman.
I think Zach goes first, right?
Who
Let's
played
see.
Roseanne's husband in
Who played Roseanne's husband in Roseanne? Great movie trivia question, Zach.
Yeah. No, it's got to be this.
Okay.
In the film Monsters Inc., who plays Sully? Who voiced Sully?
Giving that to James just because he gave me a movie and not a TV show.
Nice.
It wasn't
actual-
a Monsters Inc. related?
Nope, the actual question was, which actor played Fred Flintstone in the 1994 live-action version of The Flintstones?
That's awesome.
That is a forgettable movie.
Kyle,
Yes.
can you quickly play a version of the game like this,
Mhm.
where you ask the question
Okay.
and you give them one beat to answer, and if they don't answer, you ask the other person a different question.
Yeah, I can do that.
So literally like a lightning round, but if you don't get it right, you just move on to the next question to the next person.
Yeah,
Okay.
we once played trivia with cards that were incredibly easy, and it was super fun because when you got it wrong, it was like very wrong because it was very obvious. You know what I mean? It was like
Yeah.
it was more like how many can you not get wrong than it was how many can you get right.
All right, we'll do lightning round. How many questions you guys want?
10 each, so 20 as fast as you can go.
Okay, here we go. Ready? James,
Yeah.
starting with you.
Okay.
And you guys can interrupt me. If middle of the question you know the answer, shout it out. Or James, you shout it out.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
No,
Just
no.
James can answer.
Yeah, just James can answer. Yep.
Just I can answer, and I'm gonna wait till you read the whole.
And say our names before you ask the question.
James, which movie is set in wine country in Santa Barbara County and stars Paul
Sideways.
Giamatti? Perfect. Zach, in the 1937 Disney version of Snow White, which dwarf doesn't speak during the entire movie?
Dopey.
Correct. James, what is the name of Julia Roberts' character in Pretty Woman?
No clue.
Incorrect. Zach, in Saving Private Ryan, how many of Private Ryan's brothers have been killed in combat?
4.
Incorrect. 3.
3.
By the way, Vivian is the name of Julia Roberts' character. James, how old was James Dean when he died in a car accident?
23.
Incorrect. 24. Zach, Psycho and Rear Window were movies from which director?
Hitchcock.
Correct. James, in which movie did Vivian Lee play Scarlett O'Hara?
Gone with the Wind.
Correct. Zach, what was the dude's cocktail of the choice in The Big Lebowski?
I don't know.
White Russian. Incorrect. James, with which movie did Gwyneth Paltrow win the Academy Award for Best Actress in 1998?
Talented Mr. Ripley.
Incorrect. Shakespeare in Love. Zach, which electronic duo composed the soundtrack
Insanity.
for Tron Legacy?
Oh
No
my
idea.
gosh.
No idea.
Incorrect. Daft Punk. James, in which city is Lost in Translation set?
Tokyo.
Correct. Zach, who directed the 2019 remake of Charlie's Angels?
Oh my gosh.
Brett Ratner.
Incorrect. Elizabeth Banks. James, what is the name of the third movie in the Bad Boys franchise?
Bad Boys for Life.
Correct. Zach, which character did Al Pacino play in the Godfather movie series?
Corleone's son, John Corleone.
Incorrect. Michael Corleone. Old Johnny Corleone.
John.
James, which actor portrayed Mark Zuckerberg in The Social Network?
Sure. That one guy. That,
Incorrect. Jesse Eisenberg. Zach, which two actresses starred in the 2013 buddy cop movie The Heat?
Sandra Bullock and McCarthy.
Correct. James, which NBA basketball player starred in Space Jam?
Michael Jordan.
Correct. Zach, which comic book character did Uma Thurman play in Batman and Robin?
Poison Ivy.
Correct. James, in what year did Matthew McConaughey win the Academy Award for the Best Actor for Dallas Buyers Club?
What year? 2009? I don't know.
Incorrect. 2014. Zach, who starred alongside Owen Wilson in Wedding Crashers?
Jackie Chan.
Oh my god.
Vince Vaughn, but I would have accepted Rachel McAdams.
I answered too quick.
All right, that was 10 each.
That was it.
Personally, I like that way a little bit more.
Yeah, I like that way too. I thought when I saw these questions, like, well, these be way too easy. So let's try something else here. But yeah, the speed round works. I agree. I got
Zach
more.
got
I got more.
At least 4 or 5 of those that I could have gotten. Like pretty much all the ones he got wrong, I could have gotten. And then I got that year question that nobody would have gotten.
2014?
You didn't know that was the year.
Oh, I knew
Matthew
it was 2014.
McConaughey won. How dare you.
2014.
Yeah.
James, you won the first game.
I did?
You did.
Wow. By what? By how
And-
much?
11-7.
Really? I didn't feel
Really?
like I was winning that game.
Mhm. Actually, anytime we went head to head, you won.
Every time?
Every single time.
Zach, I felt like you stopped trying on the head-to-head ones after a while.
No, I tried so hard with Temple of Doom, then I lost hope. And then James won the speed round.
Oh, good job, James.
By what?
5-4.
Okay. It was close. You got 6 wrong? That seems weird.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Apparently.
All right.
I mean, I might have forgotten some in there, but who knows?
Sure.
Who knows? So today's cash prize goes to you.
That was fun, and I enjoyed both versions, but I do love speed trivia.
Well, I've got a whole bunch of more of these, so we can save them for future speed trivia rounds.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us for this episode 539 of the Cinereelists podcast. Don't forget, find the video version on YouTube, support us on Patreon, leave us an Apple Podcast review, send us a listener email, do all of those things on top of following us on social media on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at Cinereelists. You could also follow me on my personal Twitter or Letterboxd account at YoJRB.
You can find me on Twitter or Letterboxd at Chauvin.
You can find me on Letterboxd at PeterSKB.
Next week, we will be watching the Netflix exclusive The Gray Man, starring Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, and Ana de Armas. So if you'd like to pre-watch that in anticipation of next week's episode, that's what we're watching. We'll see you guys there. Stick around for Love and Thunder spoilers, or don't. We'll see you next time. Until then, keep it cinereal.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
This is spoiler chat for Thor: Love and Thunder. If you have not seen the movie and you want to stay spoiler free, you should stop and come back and listen to this. And if you have seen the movie or you don't care about hearing spoilers, listen on. Zach, you said you had some spoiler stuff to talk about.
I do, but first I want to say I think it's funny that Kyle likes this movie better than all of us because he was the guy that was not excited at all about Marvel movies moving forward. He was like, and he liked this one the best.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't say the best, like, of the three of us, yes.
Yeah.
Again, what worked for me is because this movie feels almost completely devoid of the actual MCU. Like, there's got Little Guardians in there, and it takes place with an MCU character, but there's no callbacks. I'm gonna say no callbacks. There's few callbacks. Doctor Strange isn't showing up at some point, being like, "Oh no, the blah 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 is in the Hoodin blah blah blah," whatever. Like, it's just the movie exists on its own, and I think at this point, that's kind of what I want from Marvel. Like, I really don't care about Phase 4 Marvel or where they're going with it. So if you can just give me like a check-in with, hey, here's this character, here's going with them, and then don't need to tie it to another bigger story, completely fine with me. So I think that's helped in that sense.
I think I don't mind standalone movies that don't loop in. I welcome them when they're good, for sure. But also, I don't care about Phase 4 either for entirely different reasons. Because all their setup for Phase 4 has sucked. Like,
Yeah,
they've
there's
all
been-
been Shang-Chi, like all these standalone movies, Eternals, they're not looping in together. For me, like in my brain, I'm not like, I don't understand where they're going with all of this stuff yet.
But there's no connection between them.
Right.
Like, they are just kind of independent movies of each other right now within this universe, and maybe they'll find a way to tie it together, but I'm fine if they don't. I don't care that much about
I think
it.
the ones James mentioned are specifically just they're introducing these characters. You know, they're
Right.
getting their Iron Mans and their.
Well, even beyond that, you've got like Black Widow, which was like a post-mortem movie that has more to
Mhm.
do with what came before than anything that they're working towards.
Black Widow also felt like it was trying to really boost the Florence Pugh character, as she was the future of that franchise, and who knows if we'll see more of that or not.
I mean, we
okay,
saw
so-
her in the Arrow show, whatever that show was called, Hawkeye.
Yeah,
which
didn't
came
watch-
after Black Widow.
You didn't watch
Didn't
that?
watch that one.
Worth a watch. Fun watch.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Watch it around Christmas because it's all
Oh,
like
okay.
Christmas based.
I'll save it for then.
Sure.
Remind me
so-
in December.
Okay.
There's some plot things at the end of this movie that I found distracting enough to kind of pull me out right at the climax of the film.
Mhm.
And it, to me, just felt like lazy screenwriting for no purpose.
Mhm.
One of them was when Christian Bale, the bad guy, finally gets the thing that unlocks the gateway
Gets
to the
the
place where you can-
Bifrost. Yeah.
Yeah. What? No, not the Bifrost. He gets, what is it? The hammer.
He gets the axe, which has the
The
power of the
axe.
Bifrost.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, does he need the Bifrost or the hammer? Is that just the key to open up?
He needs the
He needs the
he,
Bifrost.
he needs a way to get to eternity.
Okay.
Right? Isn't that what they call the character? Eternity?
Yes.
And so the
Is it a
Bifrost,
character?
you have to ride the Bifrost to get to eternity, which you can do using the hammer.
I got you. Okay.
Yes. Eternity is a being within the Marvel universe.
I loved how it was depicted, like visually. That was
Absolutely.
really cool.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so he gets the axe, right? And that's absolutely what he wanted to get. It's what he needs. He has his goal now. He's going to go make his wish to eternity, right? Why did he bring the kids with him? He brings all of the kidnapped kids with him to the gateway of eternity or whatever. He absolutely should have left the kids behind. One, because that's what Thor ultimately wants. I mean, at least initially, is to get the kids. And bringing the kids with him is only going to incentivize Thor to come after him there.
But
He should have left the kids behind.
he
There's no
needs-
reason to bring them.
He needs Thor to chase them because he needs Thor's weapon.
No, he already has the axe at this point.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, they got the axe at that like small planet area.
Okay.
And then he leaves and goes to this other place, bringing the kidnapped kids with him. It makes no sense how the kids, and then the kids, of course, they all get deputized as Thors and like participate in the fight. But like, there's no reason the kids should have come there. It only incentivizes Thor more to come after him.
Doesn't he want Thor to come after him because
No,
he's the
at
god
this-
killer?
No, at this point, he just wants to go and make his wish to eternity to kill all the gods. That's all he needs. He already has everything he needs to do that.
I honestly
Don't
am.
remember.
Yeah. I see your points. I have no memory of that, like, journey from the empty planets to the doorway with the kids to give you.
But do you remember all the kids getting deputized as
Yeah, no,
Thors and like
I-
fighting this big battle?
Yeah, and they're all fighting to Guns N' Roses song. Yeah, I remember that part. I honestly, can I tell you how the kids got from point A to point B in that sense? No, I don't.
Oh,
remember how that
they didn't show
happened.
you. He just brought them along.
Okay, sure.
They were just there with
yeah,
him.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, like, at the end, he makes his wish. Like, you get one wish with this genie, right?
Mhm.
Is it the first person there, or just everyone that gets there gets a wish? How does it work?
Anyone
First person.
is a first person. Okay,
So he's the only one that's ever been there before.
They say that in
And-
the movie.
Okay. Man, I feel like he made a weird wish.
What,
As
to
far
bring
as, like-
back his daughter?
Yeah.
What, you think he should wish for world peace?
No, I mean, he could have. First of all, he made this implicit deal with Thor, right? Who for a long time he's thought that gods are terrible people. He's like, okay, I'll bring her back, knowing I'm gonna die and you're gonna adopt her, right? So like, I just don't see him making the wish that's like, I'm gonna give my daughter to Thor, you know. But two, why did he wish something like, you know, I wish my daughter would come back to life so that she can take up the killing gods mantle or something. You know what I mean? Like, he still could kill all the gods and have his daughter alive. I just feel like he like totally wasted his wish. Or like, I wish my daughter was here with me and we could kill the gods together or something like that.
I mean, so his original wish was going to be, I wish all the gods were dead.
Totally.
Right. And then Thor appealed to his humanity.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, you know, you can bring her back. And
well, yeah, but just like, I wish all the gods were replaced, that they're slain in hell or something, you know?
So I mean, you just did not like the gods in this movie. Like, I think you just wanted to see the gods.
Well, so did he. I'm just saying he wanted that as well.
Yeah.
So why isn't he wishing something that kind of accomplishes both in his mind? Or like, I wish the gods never exist. I don't know, something.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like a little bit. I think this is not explained well enough in the movie or given enough time. I don't think gore in general is given enough time. We went over that in the main review, but the weapon that he has through most of the movie like turns you dark. It like
corrupts you.
Yeah, it like feeds on your worst instinct. And so I think Gore, what little we got of him, what makes him interesting is that he was a worshiper of a god, right? He was a true believer in the gods. Even he still believes that gods exist. You know what I mean? Like he's made it his mission to kill all of them because he believed so hard that when the one that he worshipped the most turned against him, he turned against all other gods and got this weapon, which made his sense of rejection by the gods. It gave him the ability to get revenge, essentially, or to, you know, eliminate them so that nobody else would have to feel the kind of pain he did when he was rejected by the gods. I think in the end, and the movie doesn't do a very good job of this, but the fact that Thor is a god who's fighting for humans on some level, and the fact that he's at a moment where he no longer needs that thing that gives him the ability to get the revenge or to protect other humans from the gods. I think all of those things are coming together, and that's why he's making not the decision for the thing he's wanted throughout the movie, but the thing that he really wants that he could never get, which is his daughter back, or for his daughter to have an opportunity at life and those types of things. I wish the movie had spent a ton more, had spent as much time as I just took explaining it to get across that to people better. But I think that was ultimately the intention of that scene. It's just wrapped up in an hour and a half of jokes. And so by the time you get there, you're just like, why are we even with this guy again? Because we've barely seen him throughout the movie.
Maybe just because I cared about his story, I just wish that his wish was, I wish my daughter and I could be together again. You know what I mean? Or something. I didn't like the resolution where like he never got his daughter back. You know, like his daughter got to live again, but now she's living with a stranger. Like, why not? I wish my daughter and I could be together again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's so many things he could have wished better than that.
Well, there were two sacrifices going on in that scene. There was Gore for his daughter, and there was
Yeah.
Jane for Thor.
Yeah.
And the whole Jane, with her cancer diagnosis, and then like you learn that if she continues being Thor, she's going to die of cancer. And so Thor sets her up and tells her, I got this. And then she decides he doesn't got it. And then she sacrifices herself. All of that was just kind of like, okay, this is way too heavy for everything else you're dishing out here.
Yeah.
Like you
Oh, yeah.
cannot hold these all these things going at once and give them all the proper attention that they need.
Yeah.
And I think that's what culminates in that scene.
Yeah.
It's just
So Kyle, can you defend the gods in this movie? They're all terrible.
No, I mean, like when we're in the whatever the Zeus land.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, like Zeus was pretty terrible. I can't defend the gods in that case. I can defend Thor because I do think Thor is able to appeal to Gore in that moment, and Gore is like, okay, maybe not all gods are bad, and I can give my daughter a chance to live again. Right? Is it a perfect situation? Could he have wished for? I wish we could be together. Right. I think we can pick over that. But like the fact that as a father, he was able to give his dead daughter the chance at life again is still a pretty amazing gift to give her.
Even Thor at the beginning of the movie, he's like, okay, I've stopped meditating now, and people are dying around me while I'm giving a speech,
At the
And
very
then I'm gonna-
beginning.
Yeah, at the very beginning. And then he
Well,
like destroys that palace. He
yeah,
just doesn't
but-
care about anything.
I think the Thor at the beginning of the movie is different than the Thor at the end. I think that's what sets off Thor on this journey. Is right. He is with the Guardians of the Galaxy. He is kind of nonchalant about everything going on. Right. He saves the day but destroys the palace. But then that's also when he realizes, okay, I need something more to my life, and that's what kicks off the rest of the story. So I don't think it's fair to say that the Thor at the beginning of the movie is the same as the Thor at the end.
I also feel like there's a progression with Thor where it's like the first movie, he is a god. It's not as wacky and played for laughs like this movie, but he's very unaware and like missionless in the
Mhm.
first movie. And by the end of it, he meets a human that he falls in love with. He decides Earth is worth protecting. You know what I mean? Like he becomes a less self-absorbed person. That is definitely the word of this episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he becomes a less self-absorbed character. He finds a mission in life. I don't remember the through line in Love or in Dark World, but I'm sure it's more of that in general. And then Avengers Endgame time, he's like lovesick, and Jane's broken up with him, and he gets all fat, and he's lost his purpose. And then in this movie, they pick up with like him trying to find a new purpose type of thing. And he at the beginning of the movie, in a very wacky way, with the Guardians of the Galaxy, which are pretty wasted in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, my purpose is to be the hero. And so he goes and be's the hero, even if it's like more destructive than it is helpful. And then over the course of the movie, I think he figures out like how to be a hero without being a jackass at the same time. But again, even that is not very well illustrated.
I mean,
Sure.
I think maybe, Zach, you weren't picking up on the Guns N' Roses November Rain musical finale there, where the line is saying, don't you know that we need somebody? Don't you know that I need someone? After all, we need somebody. You're not the only one. Repeated over and over and over
Well,
again.
We only get a very little bit of new Thor after he's adopted this daughter, and it's just them yelling at each other in the kitchen. Like it doesn't look like the healthiest family unit going on.
Do you know that that's his real daughter?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yep. Yeah, that's his real daughter. So
I'm also not sure I loved the idea
like
of
that.
replacing your loved one with a child.
Right.
yeah, that's a little
It reminds me of like people who are like having relationship issues, and they're like, what if we had a kid together? Maybe that would solve everything.
Yeah.
Nah.
Plus, this is a normal kid. Like it's just a kid.
Right.
And now this kid is involved in like battle. I feel like that's a war
Sure.
crime.
Did you guys get the feeling that the wish was just bring my daughter back, or was it bring my daughter back and make her a god, and Thor will take care of her? will
I
raise
thought it was
her.
the first one.
Yeah, I thought it was the first one. I mean, was she godlike at the very end?
I don't know. They didn't go very far with the idea that she might have powers or
Yeah.
things like that. But the fact that he's fighting with her makes me think that
Man,
she's
I
not just a little kid.
I just think sitting down for 1 minute, for 60 seconds, you can think of so many better things he could have wished for. Like, I wish my daughter never died. What about that? Like, that would have been better.
Sure.
Like,
But no.
I mean, the
Rewind
guy
time.
was on his deathbed and he was making an in the moment decision. So
He
maybe
was.
that was
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
problem.
He
Yeah.
was.
He was thinking with his heart, not with his head.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm kind of bummed that
$1 million, anything. I mean,
A
come on.
million I wish for more wishes.
Wish for one, 2 eternities.
You're right. Yes.
I don't know if Gore was the character to do this, but I feel like Christian Bale is an actor that you sign to 10 of these movies and you drip him over an entire phase and he is your big baddie of an entire phase. Kind of feels like they burned him.
I think if
I
Phase
agree.
4
I
had a direction or a mission, that's the case. But
I mean, you could have even had him survive this movie and have like an end of a phase be like a God War. You know what I mean? Like build up the idea of him going after the gods and like superheroes have to help the gods defend themselves. Or I don't know. It just feels like his performance in this movie, his scenes in this movie, his presence on screen elevated all of it, despite the fact that it didn't deserve that.
How cool would the end credit scene be? Like, you see the sword, that chooses people, whatever, and all of a sudden, like, the sword gets picked up by a green hand, like a big green hand, and it's Hulk.
Hulk
he's the God Destroyer.
He's the God Destroyer.
And that was the end credit scene. That would be sweet.
Was there an end credit scene? Like I saw the mid credits one with Russell Crowe and Roy Kent. I did not see. I didn't stick around for the very end though.
I think that there was, but I don't remember it.
Okay.
Was that the one with Hercules? The one that you're talking about?
Yeah, that was the Hercules. Yeah.
Right. Which
But-
is another thing I don't care about at all. But
Yeah, just some random guy is Hercules. Who cares?
I didn't even recognize him. That's the second time they've had a stinger with somebody in it where I was like, who is this person?
Like, who's this character? Who's this actor?
Who's the actor and the character?
He's Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso. He plays Roy Kent. He's the breakout character of Ted Lasso.
I haven't seen Ted Lasso.
That's which is fine. Yeah. I mean, besides Ted Lasso, I can't tell you what else he's been in. He also is a writer too.
Like 2 weeks ago, I was like, I'm going to watch this show that everybody's talking about on HBO. I pulled up my HBO app and I was like, play. And I hit play on Barry. And I was thinking it was Ted Lasso. And it took me like an episode in and I was like, this is the feel-good show everybody's talking about?
This is about soccer.
Because I knew nothing about Ted Lasso. Like literally nothing. But Barry's pretty awesome. I binged all 3 seasons. It was great.
Yeah,
Barry is peak TV, I think.
It's so dark though. Like
It is
especially
really
this
dark.
third season is so dark.
Yeah, but the
it's
writing's
good.
great.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen Ted Lasso. What's his name? The Fonz in Barry is like perfect.
Henry Winkler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
he's
man,
amazing.
him in the last episode was so good.
Mm-hmm.
His character reminds me of Saul Goodman, where it's like,
Oh, are you guys watching the final season better? These are not spoilers at all for
Yes.
Love and Thunder.
that's another one that I caught up with. I'm caught
Oh.
up to even the latest episode. It's really good.
Yeah, I have been watching Better Call Saul on Netflix, and it's always a season behind on Netflix, and then I just purchased this final season. Like I can't wait a year to watch it. So
Sure.
yeah, it's good.
Is it good?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Especially if you're a Breaking Bad fan, like the last season is very Breaking Bad, I would say.
I would say this show is better than Breaking Bad. It's different. It's a different pace. But
Yeah.
just how it both develops this character and the characters around.
Are you
I think
completely
it's-
caught up?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Completely. So
Last episode was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
The
What-
culmination of the law stuff was like amazing.
One of the best bad guys of the Breaking Bad universe is in Better Call Saul. Not even Breaking Bad, the show.
But mentioned in Breaking Bad multiple times.
Mentioned, but never shows
Right.
up in Breaking Bad.
Right,
But
right,
he's
right.
in Better Call Saul.
Anyway, all right, we're way off the
Yeah.
off the line. Okay.
Spoilers for Better Call Saul ahead.
Anything left for Thor: Love and what was the after credits? Do you mean know? I bet I can pull it up here fairly quickly. Plot. In the aftermath, in the mid-credit scene, in a post-credit scene, Foster arrives at the gates of Valhalla. Jane Foster arrives at the gates of Valhalla, where she is welcomed by Heimdall, the gatekeeper, and thanked for helping his son. So Heimdall's son was Axel in the movie.
Yes.
The kid who changed his name to the lead singer of Guns N' Roses' name.
The head of Guns N' Roses.
Right, the head of Guns N'
The
Roses.
CEO.
Yeah, so I guess the idea that Jane Foster could possibly appear in a movie that for some reason Thor goes to Valhalla at some point. Who knows? That's certainly something that has happened in the comics. I'm not sure they'll ever do it in the movies, but maybe.
They leave that door open for themselves.
For sure. Yep. Before we move on, one more question I have. Is anybody interested in a God War movie? A movie where, gods are warring.
I mean, who are the gods we're talking about?
Yeah.
Like who we're talking?
It would
Thor?
probably be a future Thor movie, and it would probably have what's his name in it?
Zeus.
Russell Crowe.
Zeus and a bunch of other gods.
I don't care about, and I was actually want to hear your opinion too. I don't care about a Russell Crowe gods war.
Mm-hmm.
I do care about like a Celestials from Eternals kind of war, or like these cosmic beings, like the Celestials, like Eternity, like Ego from Guardians 2. I think they're way more interesting to me than Taika Waititi's take on Russell Crowe hamming it up on stage.
So like Norse gods, Greek gods, celestial gods, like all kind of that's by God war. That's what I mean. Like a bunch of different types of gods warring.
I think, yes. I mean, for me personally, I want to see more of the Celestials and less of the human-like gods.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, throw on some Egyptian gods and that'd be fun.
Yeah, some dogs.
They definitely exist in the Marvel universe. There's a couple of Egyptian gods. There's definitely a lot more celestial stuff that we haven't gotten. We haven't touched Galactus, and we can get the Silver Surfer in here now. He's very,
I don't
planet
understand what it means when you say like Thor's a god, because like they can all die, right?
He's a Norse god.
Yeah, but they can die, so they're not like immortal. And he can't like fly or do things. He just has a hammer, right?
I mean, he
can't create things.
He can create lightning. He's got super strength. Like he's not, maybe he's not a god in the like as in I'm the creator of all universe, but within the Norse mythology of like these are our gods. That's how he's a god.
Yeah, in the Marvel universe, gods does not mean God.
Yeah, so like what does it mean though? Like
it's lowercase g.
Yeah, but what is everything that's a god in Marvel versus everything that's not a god? Like what are the qualifications? Like what is the combining attributes?
Worshipped by people, I think, is the big thing.
So just worshipped by people?
I wouldn't say just worship. I'm going to be completely honest. I am not. My knowledge of MCU gods is probably the same as yours because I wasn't reading these comic books when I was a kid. I was more like X-Men and things like that.
It just seems like there's no reason to believe that a non-god is less powerful than a god in the Marvel universe.
I think there's different kinds of gods, like Russell Crowe. Kurt Russell's character Ego, he was this planet god. He was way more powerful than like a Thor.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. I don't think all gods are created equal within the MCU. I mean, Eternity is the closest to not even omnipotent god, but like all-powerful god.
A capital G god.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Thor Thor could have just gone there and wished the snap away.
I don't think he knew where it was. You have to have that dark sword.
No, you needed no, they knew where the gate was. They didn't know what the key was. He did like they discovered at
What was
some
the
point during
key?
the movie the Bifrost. The Bifrost is the key. But he didn't know that the Bifrost. No one knew the Bifrost was the key.
Gotcha. No one knew
So-
you could tell the Bifrost, I want to go see eternity.
Or use it to open the door.
Seems like
So-
the first thing you'd try, but evidently, no.
Have you tried the
The magical thing that lets you go anywhere.
The magical
Let's try that.
rainbow, yeah. All right. Anything else? Nope. All right. We're done. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week. Until then, bye.